kept going like, no, see, what you do is you go,
Are you there?
yes, you there?
Okay. We are live, but continue. What were you saying?
Yeah, Jobs, I think he cut out when you were
Oh,
talking
right,
last
right.
time.
No, I was just saying about the last episode. I just kept dying every time anyone was talking about the draft. Jugs going, oh no, what you do is you trade back and get the third best person.
Yep. Yeah, classic shit, man. Classic.
Oh, I was laughing. I was laughing. Oh, by the way, Jugs, Ben has a player on the market, a quarterback. So,
Yeah, we
I
talked
saw
about that before. That's the guy with the terrible avoid interception bar and the 22 cents rush, which means somebody will give him 3 first-round picks.
that's right.
Here I was just going to make an offer.
Well, Slam can give him back the same picks he got for him.
I mean, he got him at the end of the first round. The quarterback doesn't look that bad on the surface. But when you look at his avoid interception bar, I'm like, okay, I can't. I mean, I could even get past the since rush bar. But that guy's just going to be a turnover machine. Like, there's just no way I could work with that.
What's the quarterback's name?
Edwin Anthony.
Here we go.
And
Okay.
it doesn't look bad when you first look at him.
Yeah. It's a 17 is avoid interception bar.
Yeah.
So that's really low.
I can't wait for someone to trade with Ben and give him a big pick so Jugs' head explodes.
Who was the guy that I had in Chicago that had the super low avoid interception bar?
Was that Derek Whitten?
No. Before him. I traded him to. Ooh. His was like 13, I think. It was bad.
I don't remember.
I can't think of his name. I'll have to go back. Let me look here. I'll look it up.
Well, we have some new people on here that haven't been on, and they're from Europe. We have Millman. Okay.
Hello.
He's the GM of Arizona.
Yep.
We have Jops. Jops, is that how it's pronounced?
Yeah. I mean, I think this is like my third appearance, but we'll get there.
That's right. In the very beginning. And he's Brooklyn GM. Merchant Man, he's been here. It was
Yeah, I'm
Matt's.
here too.
Welcome back, Matt.
Yes.
Yay. Good to be back.
So we got
Oh.
the people from Europe on here who can make this time.
Eurovision.
So since
Ladner. Brady Ladner.
I think there was a guy even lower than him. I traded for him. I can't think of his name. I'm trying to minimize my screen here to get the game back up.
Benson's the only other guy you had on the team. Either Ladner or Benson or Whitten.
Okay, we're away from full screen. Give me the game back here. And look at
well, I can go to team team history for you, right?
yeah, we
Chicago.
gotta go to Chicago.
Here we go.
It should have been between Benson and Ladner.
So you have Spencer,
Rhodes.
Rhodes, Ladner.
Rhodes was his name.
Yeah.
Landon Rhodes. Is that his name?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
And he was like a 13 avoid interceptions, and you guys kept telling me, and I'm like, no, I like him. Yeah, I can make him work. And you're like, no, you can't. And I was wrong.
Yeah, you played him for one season.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, he's a lot like Maselli.
Oh, man.
You know, you got somebody who just isn't good, and the GM refuses to acknowledge that he isn't any good, and he's just going to keep playing them and then keep throwing interceptions until next thing you know, he has a top 5 pick.
Well,
7 in one game, huh?
we have these other GMs on Millman, Jops.
Yeah.
Give us your opinion of the trade that happened with the quarterback.
Oh, the big trade last week. Well, I mean, I was like sandwiched in the middle of it because obviously I had 1.2, so I was waiting to see what was going to happen. And I got up early and saw that Slam had put the pick up, and I was like, oh, it must be quite early in the US, so I don't know if he's going to get that much interest, because initially in his post on the forum, he'd said, if I don't hear from anyone in the next hour or something, I'll pick. And I thought, well, he's not going to get anything. And then he deleted that part of the post after a couple of hours or whatever, and obviously got the offer from Ben. But, I mean, I was like everyone else, you know. I know about Ben from other leagues and stuff, and like I'd seen him on all the videos that he's done with Squirrel and that. I know that he's, you know, a serial winner, and for him to trade up to 1-1 and get, I mean, that guy that he took had the highest sense rush and highest AI of the QBs in this class, and he was like a good chemistry player. I think he was cheerful or something like that. So I knew that would be why Ben was trading up for him. It's like a perfect storm of all of those things. And yeah, it's going to make Tucker a good team even better for longer, really. But I wasn't unhappy to get the other guy at 1.2. You know, either of them I would have been pretty happy with. So that was pretty much what I was thinking.
I guess for me, I mean, I was directly involved in it. So I thought it was great. I mean, to be fair, so I approached Slam back probably after like week 5. For Cushman, not for this season, but I think I beat Grim in the week 1 resim, and then just nothing was happening, and I kind of, our defense has just not been anything for the last 2 seasons, really, ever since we won the bowl. So I thought Arroyo probably wasn't going to work out. I think he went 22 and 23, so I wanted a really great quarterback. So I'd spoken to Slam, and he was like, well, we'll see where I end up, and maybe I'll get a good pick in the draft. But for me, I think what he did kind of made sense, because I think if you got 2 or 3 quarterbacks that I'm getting nervous, so I taught this in case Jug comes at me. But I think you got 2 or 3 quarterbacks that are going to be serviceable, and you get someone coming in offering you, I mean, he's turned 1-1 and a quarterback into what, like 4, 5 first round picks, and he ended up picking it 1-3 and 1-4. So I think it was pretty good. I mean, sure, he could have got Brady, but I mean, would it have made that much difference for him over whoever he got in the end? I mean, the worst thing, and I think Grim said this in the last video, is everyone could have made that trade. Like, you know, we didn't, like, we all could have stopped Ben from doing it by someone else making the offer, and no one did.
Yeah, 12 hours. 12 hours went by, and Ben was the only offer.
Yeah.
Yeah, but here's the
We don't
golden rule.
know he was
Don't
the
get-
only offer. You keep saying that. We don't know he was the only offer. We don't know that.
I suppose we should probably ask Slam if he did get other offers.
I mean, logically, right, you get 2 offers. You don't take the one that's going to turn into the 132 picks.
Yes,
for the next 2
exactly.
years.
I would hope that if someone else offered, he would accept that over
Well,
Ben's
here's the
offer.
thing. People keep trading to people that are on my embargo list. There's certain people I don't trade with regardless of my record, because I'm not going to make the best better. Make them keep what they have, pick what they have, and if you're going to trade with people of similar skill.
Okay, so Jobs, let me ask you a question. And I mean, I'm just meeting you, so I'm not trying to get on your bad side. I want to ask a question here.
Oh,
Okay?
bust his balls, Bob. Bust his
I'm
balls.
I'm just trying to kind of show you the other side of the coin. So this QB
Who's
that
hold on, who's eating? I hear crackling of paper.
No, you. I'm not eating. You heard me getting my monk fruit out.
Oh, okay. Go ahead,
Okay.
Red Zone.
I'll hit mute.
Okay, so you have this QB that we just talked. Did we talk about him? The guy you had last year before you got Cushman?
Yeah.
Okay, and he's on your block, and your comment was something like, he won't be cut, and if you read between the lines, won't be given away either, because he's a great backup. Okay, so if nobody gives you an offer for him except me, and I offer you a 6th round pick for him, are you going to make that trade?
Ooh.
No, you're not. So
I might do.
A sixth rounder?
Yeah,
I'll give you six right now for him.
I tell you what, next season I would, because then he's in the last year of his contract. But this year, no.
Okay, but my point is, Slam didn't have to take the only offer he got either. If it's not good enough, I don't think you take it. That's my point.
But this then comes back to it, right? Is the offer was good enough? Everyone's problem is not the offer; it's that it was with Ben, because like we just get to watch Ben win for 10 years now.
See, I disagree. He gave him 1-9, 130, and 2 second-round picks for 1-1. That's not the going rate for 1-1 in any other league.
Right, that is the problem. The problem is the offer. It's not that it's just Ben. The picks are going to be late. Like the one pick was already late, and the other 2 picks that he gave him that are future picks are going to be at the very back of the round. The problem is the offer.
Yeah, like the value. I feel like it's the value recouped for Slam is not what you would expect to get for a 1-1, regardless of who's on the board. Like in that situation,
what he got for the QB doesn't change what he got for 1-1.
No. And what you should, in that situation, from a value standpoint, if you don't get offers from guys that are going to be picking high, then the value play really is like to take the valuable position, is to take one of the quarterbacks and just see how those 4 years go, and then trade Cushman.
Yeah,
losing got good value for Cushman.
Yeah,
that was fun.
You're right.
Well, we could even take that a step further. Ben ran the sim today. You can look and see where that quarterback is going to end up compared to the league scout. He's dropping. I've already looked.
You're talking about the guy he picked, Slam.
Yes.
Okay, let's look at it right now. Fort Wayne, here we go. And here it is. All right, there's a quarterback.
You got to pull up the league scout.
Let me get to this team then.
Although looking at him, he looks like one of those guys that if Quick had, he could comfortably win with him. You know, that high sense rush bar, and
you haven't updated your file. You didn't load today's file, Clay.
You are correct. Let me do it right now.
See, like that Andy Donovan guy is not bad. Like when I knew I was going to have a high pick, we didn't have a quarterback in Arizona. Like I was looking at the QBs in this class, and I was trying to work out who's got the best avoid interceptions and all that sort of stuff that you want to care about in the sense rush or whatever. Because I think really they're the 2 most important things you care about if you're drafting a quarterback high. The passing bars and stuff are great, but I want to know about the interceptions and the sense rush. And Brady and Horner, the guy that Ben got, and then the guy that I got, they were like on an island of their own in both of those. So they're both, mid-60s avoid interception potentially, and then their sense rushes were high. And this guy was like the next step down. So he's still good, but he's just not. If you were really interested in taking a QB, you would have taken one of those 2 at the top. And this guy was just whoever was going to be, 3rd, 4th, 5th that took a QB. It was always going to be this guy, I think.
Yeah, maybe top 10, not necessarily 3rd.
Yeah, I agree.
See, Clay and Mateus, I'm trying to say that correctly. They'll remember this better than me. What was the price paid for the pick to get Livingston? Because it was a lot
more. Yeah.
I think he paid 4 first. I'm sure he paid 4 first.
Now, what's the difference between those 2 QBs? How much better is Livingston than this guy? Or is he better?
Well, Livingston was a red flag.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, this is what we're talking about. See, I think when you make a trade, especially if you're new to the league or new to the game, then you go into the process trades or completed trades and you look at some history and you learn, well, what happened the last time 1-1 got traded? What did the guy get? What happened the last time a 70 overall receiver got traded? What did the guy get? I believe in precedents being set. I don't think people do that.
That is a really good point, because it's one of those things that I think even now being 35 years in the league, I still really struggle to gauge what value is, and it's probably because I haven't gone through the history and looked at what's value.
Which is a good point. What is value? And I always keep saying it's what it is to me and my team. It's what I believe and I'm going to use myself as an example. When I wanted Ike, the quarterback, I went to Paris and I said, I will give you 2 first-round picks. He said to me, no, you give me 3 and I'll make the deal. And I said, you know what? Sure. Because that player was valuable to me, to those 3 first-round picks.
How bad do you want him?
Exactly. How bad do you want him? How good is this player going to make your team? And that's how I look at it from my point of view.
Okay, so you see Donovan, the league scout has Donovan as a 60. What does your scout show Donovan as future rating?
60. Oh, my scout?
Yeah, your scout.
How do I see that?
That's on the trade screen, I think.
Yeah. I see 58.
Hold on, let me get to the trade screen.
Well, you could
I
you
see
could just
62.
click on scout overview.
So we're looking at Donovan. Okay, here we go. 55 is the highest on my
And
scout.
that's what I see him as, 55, which means that guy's going down
Yep.
at preseason 2.
Because I have a high scouter for the offense. So what happens that if he doesn't make his 55 rated quarterback now?
Yeah, you don't even know he's going to hit 55. That's just the top end of his future potential.
But what happens if he doesn't? Let's say he's 45. That's it, max.
Well, then you got really, really, really screwed.
Nah, he's picking at 1-1 again in 4 years, so we better hope someone else is up there.
I mean, he's not going to get sacked because he's got that 95 cents rush. But
Yeah, and the bars may save him. He may play
Yeah.
okay.
like, is he going to do much else? I don't. It's hard to know, really.
You gotta have the wide receivers around this guy.
And that's one thing I didn't know is I didn't know what I'm still learning about everyone else's teams and stuff. So I didn't know the state of Fort Wayne's situation when he was making all these trades. So, you know, if his QB, if him taking a QB high, like a big one, like he would have done if he hadn't traded with Ben, I didn't know if that would have fit in with whatever else was going on with the rest of his roster. So,
But at the end of the day, if he would have taken Brady, it would have done him no good. Useless quarterback for him. Because if he can't game plan for a quarterback, and so why even take that quarterback at 1-1 if you can't make it work?
Well, you have to go learn how to game plan for that quarterback, or you have to quit playing this game.
So why take a quarterback? Why take the third best quarterback? If you can't play, you can't play. Clay, that makes absolutely no sense.
I'll tell you why. Because the rule says he has to take a 55 rated quarterback. If it didn't say he had to take a 55 rated quarterback, I guarantee he would have never taken a quarterback in the first round.
Then he should have never made the trade to begin with. Then.
Okay, but you don't trade Cushman, in my opinion. I mean, you learn the game plan. Go to work, learn something, pull some game logs out, look at what other people are doing that are successful, figure it out.
Right. Look
Do
at
the work.
T-Zach's logs. Look at Ben's logs. It's not hard.
You don't just give up and trade everybody away.
In FOF8. FOF8 has made it so easy to copy somebody's offense. All you got to do is go into the logs and see what the person is doing. I've done it. I've seen what T-Zach has beaten me with 3 or 4 plays every time I've gone against him. I put those 3 or 4 plays in my playbook. Quick has killed me on 2 tight end plays over the years. I put those exact same 2 tight end plays in my playbook.
Why do you think he traded Cushman?
Wow.
That's actually a good question. I don't know. Do we have an answer?
Oh,
Well,
I
he
have
already
an
said he
answer.
wasn't
Because you
gonna-
couldn't
wanna
win
hear-
with him?
I want to hear yours. I have my suspicions.
It's the same answer you're going
I
to get
think
from
he
Half
traded-
Bill, right? Why'd you trade Half
I
Bill?
think he traded him. I think he traded him because he felt like he quote unquote couldn't figure him out, and he had done all he could with him, which wasn't much.
That's one option. Or maybe he was thinking, I'm not going to get my cap situation work out with Cushman in the next couple of seasons, so let's try to trade him before he loses his trade value.
Well, yeah, he also said he wasn't going to re-sign him, didn't he? So I guess if someone comes along with 2 first rounds, why not?
The only problem I really have with that is he didn't try to get a better offer. I had 3 first-round picks in this draft, and I didn't even see the 1.1 was on the was available before it was traded already.
Yeah, you got the whole weekend to hold on to it.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, you made a point, Matt. You would have given up 3 of your first round picks to get 1-1.
I didn't even have the chance to look at the draft class, what the quarterback situation was in this draft. So I think you have to think about sitting on that pick and really milking it.
If it's about recuperating value, I think that's what you do. You know, you wait and see.
Right,
who the highest bidder is.
So I found the thread with the trade for Livingston. This is exactly what C4 had 1.1 that year. Snapfinger had 1.1 that year. Toronto had 1.9 and 1.11. Toronto gave Snapfinger for 1.1, 1.9, 1.11, 2.10, 3.9, 6.12, 7.11, a first and second the following year, and a first and second the following year after that.
Jesus.
So 4 first-round picks, 3 second-round picks, a third, a sixth, and a ninth.
Now, how long
That's
did it
the
take you to
going
find that,
value
Chuck?
for 1.1.
How long did it take you to find that?
I found it in less than 5 minutes.
You have to do your research. I'm sorry, you just have to.
Yeah, and did anything become of all those picks?
Oh my!
Well, that's a really good point, because
Did you
one thing.
F and win with all that? You got?
Well, Snapfinger drafted a bunch of good players. Now he doesn't always win, but he's not the best game planner either. But Snapfinger always has 60 and 70 rated players on offense. He always does.
Yeah, what does the old say? A bird in hand is better than a bird in the bush, or some crap like that.
Okay, but
You
what he
have
did with those
Cushman
picks
in
doesn't
hand.
really matter. He got more value. It was his job to take those picks and get value out of them. He still got a better deal for 1-1. If he blew all the picks and they all sucked, that doesn't change the fact that he got a hell of a lot more for 1-1 than Slam did this draft.
But at the end of the day, Cushman was traded because if he couldn't make him work.
His name was Half Bill.
And he
Yeah.
and if he had another quarterback like Cushman, he's not going to make him work either.
So that doesn't mean you get a quarterback that's 30 points lower rated, Clay. That makes no sense at all. Seriously, your logic is so flawed, it's just unbelievable. That makes absolutely zero sense.
So you don't, with that
you
guy.
don't say I can't win. You don't say I can't win with a 77 rated quarterback, so I settle for a 45 or 50 rated quarterback. There's no logic behind that.
I hear you. Why trade this guy then? Why?
Like I said, go back to work and learn something.
Hey, Clay, did you hit record on this by chance?
I have.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to make sure because I can't remember you saying we were live, and then I'm like, God, we could sit here for 3 hours, and he forgot to hit record.
No.
One of the things, Clay.
Recorded.
One of the things, Clay, about IHOF. Look at the different GMs you have to learn from. You got Ben, you got Quicksand, you got T-Zac, you got Juggernaut. I mean, I can go on. There's others. But, I mean, all different styles of play. Julio. Who gets more out of lower-rated players than Julio does? I mean, who throws the ball deep better than Ben? Who runs better than Juggernaut? Quick runs a pretty heavy pass offense and drafts really well, right? I mean, T-Zac runs an all-pass offense and scores a zillion points and throws for a zillion yards. I mean, if you can't go in and look at some of these game logs and see what they're doing that's successful and figure out how to do some of that yourself and add that to your game, what are you here for? Just to be a clay pigeon? Are you trying to win?
No, listen, I hear you. I'm just asking you guys, why do you think he made the trade? That's my speculation on it. I don't have facts or evidence of it. I'm just going based upon, you got a 77 rated quarterback. I have him at 78. He's solid all the way across. And if he only put up 7 touchdowns last season to 9 interceptions, that tells you everything.
So what you do in that case is, I would have never traded Cushman. But in this particular case, what you do is, if you trade Cushman, you draft the next best available quarterback. You don't drop down and get the third best quarterback. You get the best available quarterback because that gives you the best chance to learn and win and continue getting better at the game. You don't continue getting better at the game by playing with 45 and 50 rated players against T-Zac, against Julio, against Ben. You're going to get your ass kicked every single time. And I mean every single time. You have not a chance in hell because you're new to the game, and now you have a 50 or 55 rated quarterback. Ben has an 80 rated quarterback. Julio can win with 45, 50, and 55 rated quarterbacks. T-Zac has the best offense in the league with a 45, 50, 55 rated quarterback. You're not any of them. So you need all the help and all the talent on your offense to compete with them. But you don't do that. You drop back and think drafting 3 60-rated players at random positions is going to be better than having an 80-rated quarterback, and it's not, unless you have 3 60-rated wide receivers. It's just not better.
Let me add one more thing. When I look at my own draft board, I have the 3 quarterbacks very close together. So if you think it's only 1 or 2 overall points difference, then yeah, moving back from 1-1 to 1-3 makes it a good deal in your perception at that point. I mean, we now know, or we are expecting that Brady will be like 20 points better than Donovan, but when you go into the draft and you think they're almost equal, then yeah, moving down is not a bad move.
You're saying he didn't know that on draft day. That's possible.
Well, I haven't looked. I don't know how good a scout is. I have a pretty good scout on offense. You can see the clear difference between the top 2 quarterbacks and the third quarterback. You can just eyeball that and see that. At least I can with my scout. I didn't have to do an interview. There's a drastic difference between the top 2 quarterbacks and the third quarterback.
Well, he's got a deep offensive scout. His 91 scouting ability. He's got Maslaus's old guy, offense coordinator.
So these are the quarterbacks, how they looked in the draft. I didn't interview them, so that's how they're going to look.
I can see why Ben went for Brady over Horner, because if you look at Horner, I mean, that 1% developed. Like, I was talking to Rick about it earlier, and he was saying, he's had a 1% guy before, and it takes him like 4 or 5 years to get to start fulfilling their potential if they do hit that. So I can see why Ben went for the other guy, on that 34% developed.
Yeah, I had a 1% quarterback in another league. It took him 3 full seasons to fully develop. And even in the 4th season, he still played like trash. He didn't play well until the 5th season.
It's like his whole rookie deal, basically, is a developmental deal.
Yep.
Right. That's correct.
And Brady has the deep pass bars that Ben likes, so it's a good fit.
Wow.
Well, and he said he was a chemistry match.
Well, then it's an even better fit.
Yeah, that's the thing. So he could have affinities with with his receivers and stuff as well, which is what he likes.
Wow. To me, the real unique selling point for Brady is the solipsismic test. It's really screaming at you, okay, this guy is going to have a high avoid interceptions bar. And for Donovan, you really don't know at this point. I mean, without doing the math.
Yeah, I think when I was looking at them before, and just doing like my evaluations, it's like Brady and Horner were in the green group. I think they were in like the dumbest green group, and then Donovan was the yellow. But I did like the T-Zac calculator on like the midpoint of their bars. So Brady's avoid interception, according to the midpoint, would have been 66. Horner's was 62, and then Donovan's was 57. Like, obviously that's just an estimation. That was just to give me like a vague idea of who was going to be, if I had my choice of any of the three, which ones I'd want to go for. And yeah, I think above 60, if you're going to try and pass over a certain threshold, it is good. I mean, but there's guys that can make avoid interception bars in the 50s work, but that's still, it's not low, is it? It's not 17 or whatever, like that guy we were talking about earlier. But
I mean, there's still hope for Donovan. If Donovan gets like a random volatility hit where he booms, hey, he's all good. Maybe the guy jumps up. But if you're going by just the scouting, just a breakdown on the scouting, and he doesn't get a volatility boom, that guy's probably going to end up about 50 overall.
Yeah. And it's the case of like what could have been, if he'd just have had like 1.4 and he'd never had a shot at the other quarterbacks, then, taking Donovan wouldn't have been so bad. But being in the situation where you could have had any of them and you've ended up with the worst one. And, the fact that he had to give up picks that he'd made in the trade to get back up to take the quarterback after the whole tackle thing, it made it all that much worse.
Yes, he lost 130 on that one.
Yeah.
Now, do you guys like the rule that you have to replace your quarterback with a 55 rated quarterback to ever make a trade?
Absolutely.
I love it. I love the rules in his league because it prevents you from tanking.
Yep.
I see. Look, I'm not going to say any names. A couple of you guys know who I'm even talking about. There are like 2 or 3 GMs amongst leagues across all FOS where the first thing they do is they trade their 65, 70, 75 rated quarterback when they come in their league. They try and lose as much as they can for 2 or 3 seasons to build a powerhouse roster because they're not capable of winning any other way. I see it all the time. And Ben's rules prevent you from doing that.
Exactly right.
All right.
I think in this league the competition is so strong, it's not going to work to try to build your roster that way.
Yeah, the no fire sale rule is the best lure for the league.
Yep.
I agree.
Because how many times you join a league and see somebody go, oh, it's fucking fire sale, and all of a sudden they're getting all these parts and they can build a powerhouse that'll win 3 or 4 in a row. When you say to yourself, well, guess what? If the fire rule had been there, you would have had to pick like the rest of us in your given spot.
I agree.
And build a roster through the free agency trades, the pick you got, But it happens everywhere.
If my team's doing bad, I try to make it work whatever I can. And if I have to win those last 4 games, I know I'm coming out of the season knowing I fixed the problem that I can bring into the next season. I don't let it ride. I try to find out what is my issue, who's the problem, who do I need to fix, what do I need to fix.
Look, we're on the phone. We're on the chat right now with somebody who refuses to lose. Grimmer is a perfect example of that. Grimmer has had many seasons where he's sitting at like 4-9 or 5-8, and he can just lose the last 3 or 4 games of the year. And he does whatever he can to win no matter what. Like, he refuses to lay down. Like, just refuses to.
Yeah, I fucking hate losing. I really do.
Yeah, it's an integrity thing.
Yeah, I got to make the playoffs this season.
It's an integrity thing.
I mean, I'm
knowing damn well, even if he's at 5-9, going 7-9, going to hurt his draft position, he doesn't care. He wants to win every game that he plays. And I give him so much credit for that. Because so many GMs check out. Like, once they get to, like, their 11th, 12th, 13th game and they're out of the playoff picture, you're like, oh, I'll get a better pick. Let me just lose. I mean, hell, I see people post it in the forums. People actually say that in the forums. Oh, it messed up my draft position. I was hoping to lose this game. Like, really? Like, you really were hoping to lose the game? Like, hell, I don't want to lose any game. Even if I'm 1-14, I actually want to win the last game.
No, and I actually, if I beat somebody who I shouldn't beat and it fucks up their draft position, or if I lose, to somebody that I should have beat, I'll apologize to them for fucking up their draft position. Like, sorry, man. I tried to win that one,
Or even the better one, you knock somebody out of the playoffs.
Yeah. I love it, especially against Grim and Quick. Like, if you're on a down season and you can beat one of them,
yeah,
It's so good. It really makes my day.
Yeah, great
What did
job.
Herm
Didn't
Edwards
you,
say?
didn't you beat me twice last year, Chops? I think you
Twice.
did.
Yeah, I'm like your boogie team.
Yeah, right.
You remember that, Clay?
What's that?
What did Herm Edwards say?
He played to
Win
win.
the game. It's so true. For me, it makes it more fun. I don't want to lie down. I want to fix my team. I want to dominate when I can. And that's it. At the end of the day. You know?
Like so I am because I've never been in any other league as well. I've only ever been in ones run by Ben, and I love the rules as well. And I also love the speed that they run at. Because I just love to check it every day and see what's happened. But like my team last year, so I since playing, and I've been playing, I guess, online now for real time, like 5 years or something. I still have like never game planned on.
Hold on. Who's messing with paper? What are they doing? Cracking beer cans?
Oh, that was
Just
me
get the
putting
recycling
Kit Chow
on.
away, okay? I
Rick
gotta feed
knows.
the baby, but
You have to mute yourself. It sounds like you're
Apparently
cracking beer cans.
The crinkling of paper really gets under Clay's skin. He's
Everybody
going to
get a
get
piece
triggered
of
here,
paper.
boys. Mute yourself. Mute
Everybody
yourself.
get a piece of paper all at once. We'll do it.
Well, I muted myself when I was giving them the food because they were screaming their little heads off.
All at once. We'll do it.
But yeah, like so I've never game planned on D because I don't really like the interface for it. But like last season we were so bad. Like the last 6 games, I started just going through the logs of every team I was about to play and trying different things to see what would actually work. And I think we won 2 of the last 3. But funnily enough, what I normally do is I end up finding something that works for 1 or 2 teams and I just leave it. But I don't know. I think I just didn't have the players for it last year. But yeah, I started tinkering with it to try and see what we could actually do.
Now, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I mean, I hate losing as well. That's even though last year, getting 1.2 or whatever, it was like, this is a chance to, being new to the franchise, I thought, well, I can pick a quarterback and then go from there. But I don't know about you guys, but I watch every game in all my leagues on Solvision. Like, I never just check the logs. I watch it all play out. And like, it's so painful if you're watching it and you're just getting beaten every week, like watching it, play by play or whatever, down by down. So like that kind of gives me the motivation. I know that I'll never just check the logs and just forget about that one. I always watch the game out just to see how it's gone and like, make sure the game plan's flowing and stuff like that. But that really helps to make the losses hurt even more.
The
other thing about watching Soul Vision is on Soul Vision, they show you more than what the logs do. Because Soul Vision will tell you if there's somebody blitzing on a running play. The logs don't show you who's blitzing on a running play. Like, you see more stuff in Soul Vision than you do just looking at the logs. So you actually learn watching Soul Vision.
Yeah, and I try to watch Soul Vision every game, but I usually end up shutting it off on my first mistake because I know I'm going to lose. And then it's a surprise if I win. But yeah, I have not made it through an entire game on Soul Vision in probably 3 seasons. That's how bad we've been.
Well, that's because you have Maselli. I mean, if you actually had a real quarterback, you'd be able to watch all your games all the way through.
I was waiting for it, buddy.
Oh, that's great.
I think he's got a timer over there every 5 minutes. Did I say anything about Maselli lately? No. Hey, Maselli.
Does everyone watch their games on Solivision?
No, like I've never watched it on Soul Vision actually. So
I rarely do. I don't have time.
Yeah, because the games normally come out at like 10:30 in my time. I normally just go on the website, like, I don't know, like 10:45 or something, and just check. And then on my lunch, I'll probably go through and read the logs. But I've never actually watched it on Soul Vision, so I might start because I didn't know there was more info on there.
Even if you look at the logs to see the result, like the logs in a box score, you will help yourself game planning by going back later on and watching the game. You are any GM, and I'm saying this for everybody. Any GM who is not watching the logs, is not watching Soul Vision and just looking at the logs, you're kind of doing yourself a disservice. Unless you actually have no plan on changing your game plan on offense or defense at all, you're just going to leave it no matter what, then that's one thing. But if you're game planning every couple games, or like you're submitting files and changing this and changing that, you actually really need to look at Soul Vision. It gives you more info than just the log.
Jugs, I have to agree with you because there was one time, it was a season or two, I noticed that my quarterback was throwing a certain type of interception. And my certain wide receivers was running a certain pattern. And I kept seeing that on Solar Vision. And I had to take out that formation, and it stopped throwing those interceptions. So I agree with you on that.
Yeah, definitely helps. Really helps.
That play-by-play line about the amount of times I've seen like a tight end for the other team get a huge gain, and then it gives you that little play-by-play line of he ran his route over the middle. I must have seen that so many times that I thought, right, I need to start not just worrying about run-stopping linebackers, like get some guys with zone defense in there as well. And then, in another league, I had a linebacker last year get 6 picks, just because I'd started focusing a bit more on zone defense and stopped getting absolutely killed by these linebackers, by these tight ends running over the middle on me. Running slide routes and stuff like that.
When I was, I think I noticed when I was watching the games against Quick this season, he got so many chunk plays from his tight end over the middle against me. So I've gone in free agency and signed a middle linebacker with really high zone defense just so I can stop that shit. Because I was looking at our data and like my middle linebacker got toasted every single day.
He even said about that in those videos that he did with Squirrel and Ben. He said there's a ton of guys making an absolute mint by throwing to their tight ends over the middle because people just don't think about zone defense that much for linebackers. And he wasn't wrong. I kept seeing it happening to me.
Right, and that goes back to what I just said. I played Quick. I mean, there were times where I played him once in the regular season, and then I faced him in the playoffs. And I kid you not, like there was just these 1 or 2 tight end plays that he just absolutely murdered me with. And I'm like, you know what? I don't care. I'm taking this play from him. Like, I can't stop this play no matter what defense I put in. And he always seems to have a good tight end. I'm taking these plays.
Yeah. The matchup will always favor the tight end, in that situation. That's the thing. If you can get a good tight end, you can always just kill people over the middle.
Now, Melman, you were saying that it becomes painful when you watch your games in Solar Vision.
Oh yeah, definitely. Not always. Only when I'm losing. if I'm winning, that's good.
Yeah, it's never painful when you're winning.
Yeah.
I don't know why that is.
But it's like it can happen. But go ahead.
It's all of that stuff. Like if you get like a punt return and then you fumble it, or if you throw a pick in the opposition's red zone or whatever, like all that stuff, it hurts just as much as if you're watching your real life team on TV and it happens, because you're following the drive as it's going and the momentum's building up and you're thinking, right, well, we're going to score and that's going to put us up by 2 scores or whatever. And then something bad happens, or like a quarterback gets sacked and fumbles. Like I know you talk about that a lot. Like it's just, watching that stuff and seeing it, it's painful.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, to me, Solar Vision is the most important piece of my day. Like I want to wait for it, and when I get home, okay, let's watch it. It's like getting to watch your favorite team every single day. So I will say, in regard to game planning, I realized, with Rick's help, I've been coming to a gunfight with a water pistol. You can tweak and do this and that, and then I see these spreadsheets that I'm now buried in thanks to Rick. Oh my gosh, there's so much information that I just didn't even know. So it's going to be exciting this year to see what can be done with a good roster and a good game plan.
Now, I do have a question for you guys. Now, Red Zone knows how I feel about this. Do you guys mind trading in your own division?
Hey, can I jump in? This is easy. I finally got in on one of these, Clay. So I was kind of just sitting back and listening. But when you're starting to talk about trade, that's really where I want to jump in and speak.
It's Rob.
Domain. What's up, Rob?
Hey, Rob.
What's happening, man? When I saw that, I actually jumped on the forum and saw that. I was like, holy shit, I'm jumping on. I never get a chance to do it. So, I will trade with anyone in the right scenario. There you go. It doesn't matter about the division. It just matters that I feel like it's a square deal and both of us feel good about it. So I think sometimes you need to be strategic and you don't want to load up your division mate. But I think at the end of the day, you have a responsibility to your team to do what's best for your team. And if making a deal with a division, opponent will get you the player you want or maybe get you over the hump, I'm all about it. So I can understand why people will not do it. And I think there's a time maybe when you're sizing up against someone, you're like, I mean, am I looking to help T-Zac out anywhere? No, but if it works out well for both of us, I'll most certainly make the deal. The other thing I wanted to speak to real quick is I agree. If that was that Juggy that was talking about Soul, I agree 100%. When you really dig in and read it and watch it, you learn so much more. So that's all I really have to say. I'll sit back and listen because, like I said, I haven't been here, so I apologize, but I'm glad to be here. Thank you for letting me talk for a second.
No, anytime, Rob. Anytime. Anyone else?
I don't really give a shit. I'll trade with anyone as well. Because I think I said it last time I was on and Ben was on at the same time. I'd also rather just trade away picks and let one of you guys do all the drafting and just work out what players are good and take them off you afterwards. It's like the old, it's like the mystery box. Like what's in the box? It could be anything, but I've actually got Cushman, so I don't need the mystery box. So I'll trade with anyone. I don't care.
I think I'm a bit more cautious. If I look at the situation my roster's in or whatever, I think if someone's offering me a trade and I know they're a good GM, and it's a pick for a pick or whatever, I think, well, I could have a high pick next year if my roster's bad or if we got a tough schedule or whatever, or could a couple of injuries throw us off and stuff like that. I wouldn't want to give, if I was going to trade with T-Zac or something, he's not going to pick any earlier than the playoff spots, is he? He's never not going to be a good team. So I wouldn't want to give someone potentially a high pick.
That is one thing I think's funny when you see and I'm not atting anyone, but you see people going putting 330 on the block or whatever and going I'll take it for a third next year. It's well you fucking won't, because that's a fourth rounder.
I think when you're trading pick for pick, I think you do have to kind of think into the future like that and think about where your roster's likely to be or whatever, because otherwise it's just you're giving away a certain percentage of value.
Fellas, really quick, I want to make sure I put a zoom at 5 hours I usually put. If it disconnects really quick, because I might have put an hour, I will load up a new link in the forum so you can jump back on, just in case.
Yeah.
I'm giving a heads up to everyone. Go ahead, continue.
So I think that after a couple of pretty poor trades, it turned out poorly for me anyway, I normally try very hard, unless I'm chasing a stud QB and I have to throw a bundle of picks at the guy. If I'm going to trade my first round pick, I would prefer to wait until I know where it is. Doesn't mean I won't trade it, but I don't want to give you next year's first and then find out next year's first is 1-1 or 1-2. If it's 1-1 or 1-2, I'm going to wait and get value for it when I trade it, or I'm going to use it. Follow?
And how many times did 1-1 be somebody's trade? That's how I ended up in Arizona. So Mac gave up 117
for a linebacker. Yep.
And
remember
then,
that?
I do.
I ended up with a quarterback. And then it happened again not too long ago.
Yeah, Quick got the Paris's
that's the one quick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Rick, do you remember the running back that Z-Buck had in the USFL?
Oh, Brio.
Yep. That was a 1-2 pick that he got from me.
Oh, my God. Oh,
that's what I was speaking of. After a couple of trades that didn't work out so well,
yeah,
one of them.
I rarely trade, to be honest, and I will definitely not trade with an in division rival. Mm-hmm. I'll put the same Clay prices on a trade if I do.
Yes. Yes, if I'm going to trade within my division, I really had to, it would be for a lot of picks.
I don't know that I would say I wouldn't trade in my division. I'd be more careful, maybe.
You and I never traded. You
would never do it. We never had any conversations.
He's got the embargo rule.
See, I find that so interesting. Like me personally, if I want someone and I have my eyes on someone, or if I feel like that's a piece, I'll pay whatever. I'll trade with that whatever. I'll take the gamble. If it's 1.1 next year, who the hell cares as long as I get what I want when I want it, right? And I think the thing that people personally, just as me, and I've made tons of trades, hundreds and hundreds over the years. I think, there's no real fair trade, to be honest with you. You just have to, both GMs have to feel good about it at the time of the trade. And I think people need to not live in their fears when it comes to trading.
Rob?
I love when people are aggressive. Get what you want, pay for it, and live with the consequences.
We were just talking about this before you came on. And people were saying, what's the value? And then I said, the value is what it is that player is to your team. Is that player going to make my team better? And you'll pay whatever it is you feel is going to make it better, like you're saying right now. Yes, across the board. There is no value for a player only based upon what that GM who wants that player puts on it.
100% in agreement with you, Clay.
Okay, but Rob, the trade for Livingston, when Toronto traded with C4 to get Livingston years ago versus the trade for 1-1 this draft, do you ever go do research like that before you make an offer?
Oh, I definitely try to understand the market, but I think the market's constantly resetting. And once again, I think it goes back to, number one, what a GM thinks it's worth, and number two, what the other GM's willing to pay. And I don't, I think there's always exceptions to the rule. I think the market pretty much, for the most part, gives you a good idea. And I do try to go back and research those things. But I think every trade's unique, to be honest with you. And once again, I just feel like at the end of the day, at the time of the trade, both GMs should feel good about it.
Let's take that example, Red Zone. Let's say a quarterback went for 5 first-round picks. And now another quarterback comes on the market similar to that quarterback that got 5 first-round picks. But all the other GMs are like, it's not worth 5 to me. I'll only pay you, I'll only pay you 3. Now you, as a GM who has that quarterback, are you going to say, no, I want 5 or I don't do the deal? If no one else is going to give you more than 3.
Two-part answer. Part one, I think Rob's right. Every trade's different. So you may be in a situation where those 3 firsts, this may be a draft where you see 3 players that, boom, can come in and help your team right away, or 2 of them this year and 1 next year, whatever the case may be. But also, we're not talking about going from 5 firsts to 1. Because to me, 130, it may as well be a second-round pick.
You also have to look at the GM too. Let's say my team is stacked, and I just need that one player to take me over the edge. I don't care about my 3 first-round picks. I already have all my players. Those 3 first-round picks are really useless to me. That player is valuable to me. And maybe I'll then say, I'll give you 4 if I have the 4 first round. Because of that player is going to take me to the bowl. And that's all I needed. Compared to...
You can also sit and draft the player that everybody's trying to get and wait a season and let somebody come to you then. He could have taken the QB at 1-1 and kept Cushman and sat till next season, and somebody would have come knocking with a bigger pile of picks. You have to have patience. I don't have any. I'm not suggesting that he does either, but you could have gone that way.
I have no patience. I like to strike when the iron's hot. If I want something, I'm taking it.
Yep. I don't want to wait. I don't like waiting. I'm no good at it. But it was an option there. He could have done it.
There are people who are bad drafters. That no matter what pick you give them, they're going to pick a sucky player.
That's something that Ben said Ben posted when everyone was talking about that trade that he made for that quarterback or whatever, and he made a little post in there sort of just explaining his thought process. And he said, the picks that he traded away, he would have picked good players with those picks. So, he could have made those into good players, but for him it was worth giving up the chance for 2 good players at the end of the first round to get a position of value for the next 15 years.
Right, but most people can't draft like that.
No, exactly. So if you can't, if you don't feel comfortable drafting well, and I'm sure I've heard you say before, Clay, like, if there's someone you want, you just give up the picks, like you just said then, for the known value, like what that QB is if he's already in the league, or what that receiver is. With guys coming in the draft, even if you think they look good to you, there's still a chance of like a volatility bust, or they don't work out, or whatever. It's like known value versus the unknown, isn't it? But then the draft is part of why a lot of people play the game, to have fun.
Chodos used to do that.
draft these
He
players.
trade his picks for proven players.
It's true. If we go to my history, right? When I got Ike, he brought me to 9-7, then 13-3, 10-6, 12-4, 11-5. When I didn't have Ike, my thing was mediocre. If you look
Was
at
that is Starks that guy you paid him? Was he the guy that you gave that contract to?
Yeah, but he was a 30 rated quarterback, and McConnell was also a 38 rated quarterback. So I didn't really have a top quarterback until I got Ike.
Yeah,
and
he's doing well for you.
So he was the missing piece for me, and that's why I went to Paris and I said, I will give you X. And he says, give me this and he's yours. And I said, sure, take it.
Well,
So Clay, if somebody offered you 6 first-round picks for your QB, would you make the deal?
No, why would I give up Ike? That would be
Exactly.
crazy.
Do you know what Paris did with those picks?
And conversely, he should have kept Ike.
Oh, I don't know what Paris did with them. I couldn't tell you.
No, so we don't know if he picked them or not.
Well,
that's what
we can look at his record.
I mean, that's one of those things I wish the game had in it. Like if you clicked on the transaction, it'd tell you, when they were traded, what happened to the picks and stuff. That would be.
Well, here's the one thing we can't shy away from. Trading is fun. Ask Slim Mikey. Okay.
Oh.
People like to trade, and people like to get a deal, and people like to draft. Those are probably the 2 most fun things to do in the game. But you have to use your head.
I forget what league it was I was simming at the time. One year I counted up his trades from the time we did the season rollover to the time we did the bowl game. Well, to a trade deadline. 54 trades in one season.
That's ungodly.
I kid you not.
As someone that has to process a lot of his trades, I can tell you that he's probably hitting in the 30s on average, easy.
I'll bet you. I have no doubt, Rob.
Oh God.
Oh Jesus.
Why does he trade that much?
He just trades
That's
to trade.
his joy of the game.
Got it.
Some people love to draft. Some people love to game plan. He loves to trade.
Yes.
He's the best at it too. I really think he's
And no doubt, he does trade well.
fair. And if you can't work out a trade with Mikey, it's on you. That's my opinion, at least. If you can't work it out, then you're the hold up.
Rob,
very reasonable.
We talked about this also the last talk, where certain GMs don't come back with a counter offer. You give an offer, and it's kind of like dead there. There's no, I don't like that offer. However,
that really winds me up.
Let's do this. Can you do this? And then you have that dialogue back and forth until you get to where you're both happy. You and I did that same thing, Rob. We got on the phone and we spoke about something. We made it work.
And you know what? That meant a lot to me that we were able to work something out. And I'm just being honest. Like for me with trading, it's all about relationship. I don't look at one deal. I look at the bigger picture. When you came to me on a deal, I'm going to listen to you just because I felt like in the past, you and I were able to get it on and we both felt good about it. That's what I mean. At the end of the day, for me, there is no fair trade. It's just that the GMs feel good about it at the end of the day. Much like when you buy a car, and Bob, you could speak to this, right? There's a lot of different deals, but as long as the customer leaving out the door feels like he feels good at that time, it doesn't mean they got swindled. And in football in this, you can't sometimes tell for 4 or 5 seasons. So who the hell knows?
Yeah, it really winds me up when you offer someone something and they just come back with no, or just don't respond. Like, at least have a dialogue. Like, I think
something.
And I've had a couple of rants on it on the forum. I think like when I've offered something, and then you see like the trade just get posted with someone else, and you're like, well, shit, no, I could have beaten that offer. Like, but we didn't have a conversation. You just took the highest offer. Like, have a dialogue about it.
A lot of that goes back to relationship, though, too. It's easy to go back and trade with the people that you're familiar with. And I don't know the details of that, but I know for me, like I said, when I'm familiar with someone and feel good, I'm going to be more comfortable and willing to work with them.
Well, how do I get you to feel good?
Agreed. The dialogue should be there. Just say, Jops, that doesn't work for me. Throw in a second, and we can make it happen. And Jops might say, no, but I got a linebacker I see you need. How about if I do this with this linebacker? Does that work? And then you have that, but there are sometimes it just goes into a black hole. You don't hear anything. So we have, by the way, Arizona. Millman.
Yes. Hello.
Why don't you tell us about your team, what you need to fix?
Plenty after last season. We didn't score enough points. We gave up too many points. And it was a shame because the first season, I came in and it was like, big shoes to fill, And I talked to Rick a lot, so I know the kind of teams he builds. I know the run-first teams and good defense and stuff like that. And we were a playoff team that season. We lost in the first game against Quick, but, we had a good record. And I thought, if I stick to those principles of running and trying to keep aware of the defense and stuff, we'd be all right. But, last year, we just, we lost our number one wide receiver, I think, early on. And then it was like two of the best linebackers went down. And then two of the defensive line went down. And they're all like injuries over 30 weeks. So they're guys who are out for, last season and this season. And that put a fork in us. I was trying to game plan every week on defense and on offense, and the only thing that seemed to be working was the run game. But when it came to putting up points, we couldn't do it. So this year we're going to be trying something different on offense. Still running, but with a rookie QB, we're going to have to try and make him a bit more comfortable. Which is why I went out and tried to get some more receivers, some more guys to catch the ball. But I'm really happy with McQueen. I could have never imagined that he would turn out like that. I picked him in the third, and I think I was actually on Discord the other day. I was looking through some screenshots of stuff, and I'd sent one to Rick when I first drafted him. I thought, I wanted to get a guy in the first or second, but no one really fell to me. This guy I'll have to do, but he's been good for me so far.
Yeah, he has been 1,700 yards the season before, 2,100 this season.
And I'm not like I'm not a running GM. Like I'm still learning about game planning overall. But my two other leagues, I've got decent quarterbacks, so I pass more than I run. But here, it seems like I'd be stupid not to lean on him where I can. But it's just we were too one-dimensional when it came to trying to score points. Once we got to the red zone, guys that just stack the box, play man to man, and we couldn't get in. So that'll have to change this year. But again, I got a 1% developed quarterback, so we'll have to see how he goes.
Yeah, you only put up 284 points last season.
I know. That was one of the painful Soul Vision years where all these games I was watching were just, terrible. Absolutely terrible. So we can't expect to win games when we put up so few points. So, but it's hard, it's hard competing for receivers in the draft. It's hard competing for receivers in free agency. This, if you're a new player, especially this last off season has been a lesson in how to bid in free agency. I watched the guys that won the big contracts, and bonus is king. It seems if you want someone, you go out there and you give them that bonus.
I was terrible in free agency this year. I couldn't even get scrubs that I fucking wanted. It was so bad.
Well, that's what Tzak was saying. In the GML that used to run, that was where the bonus thing came on, because everyone would just bid it was. I don't think I ever won a player in free agency there, but it was always I don't know, someone half decent comes up and they get 100 million in bonus, and then 10 million a year for 3 years, and it ended up with everyone had constructed their roster except for me. I never won anything in GML. With everyone was just paid bonus. No one got any salaries. It was bonus and flat salaries for 3 seasons.
Yeah, and I'm still trying to figure all that out. And the other thing is, I'm still trying to get used to the cap number in this league, because it takes a little while to get your head around the cap, without thinking that everyone is just earning too much money.
Now, Rob, what you're trading, because I know how you like to trade a lot. With free agency, you'll spend the money for a player as well.
Oh yeah. I tried to get that quarterback that Juggy got, and I'll tell you what, he played with the money he had. I watched it, and then I actually got discouraged. He played free agency brilliantly, and I maxed out bonus. I think it was 160 million, and I even offered, I think, 50 or 60 million a year for salary, because I knew I felt that Juggy would give a full bonus, and I didn't have it. I couldn't match it, but I tried. So he played it perfectly. Yeah, I'll pay either way. I paid like $400 million for a guy in for a wide receiver in RZB, and that was, with a much lower cap. So yeah, I'll pay. Like I said, if I want someone, I'll pay for him, whether that's money or trade or whatever. Combination of both.
I know Red Zone was paying a lot of money also for players this free agency.
Yeah, he got Yamashita and Harden.
Yeah, Harlan was making
And
moves.
I tried for both of those guys really hard. I even had to complain. I'm like, dude, you couldn't just take one and leave one for me? Fuck.
Quick would have left me Humphreys. You would have got Harden.
I didn't take Humphreys. That was Quick's. That's Quick's problem, man.
I just can't wait to actually give IHOF my full attention in the way I need to. I always go halfway, and I hate that, but I'm hanging in there. And since I've been in this league on this return on Rochester, I've missed all the critical stages. So this past season, I think, or the last season, was the first time I actually had decent scouts and actually started to put a few things in place that I wanted, as opposed to a ton of auto picks or just bad moves. So I feel like I've been, finish middle, stay middle, draft middle, and that's where I've been stuck, just spinning my wheels with this team. But I'm ready to get aggressive here, and I plan on. I'm pissed off that I haven't won a bowl in this league, to be honest with you. So it's a tough league, and I respect everyone that plays in it. But I'm going to come after it here soon, real hard.
Well, you got Red Zone in your division, so it's you, Red Zone,
Zach,
and Surt, who has always good defenses.
Yep. I'm used to playing in good divisions, and I respect all those guys. But if I feel like if I pay a little bit more attention, I know I'll produce a little bit more in here than I do a little bit better than I have.
And we have quite a rivalry when you played in the Euro division.
Let's go to Mass Lewis. Matt, your
Yeah.
team. Who's your quarterback going to be? Is it Singleton
No,
or Tanner?
Singleton is a turnover machine. He played well for 3 or 4 seasons, but now he's been exposed. He's a turnover machine. He looks great to me, his bars, but he's fumbling. He's throwing interceptions. He's only still here because I need a backup quarterback who's got enough cohesion to not be a total waste of a roster spot. But yeah, I'm going with Tanner.
So he's the guy right here.
Yeah. I mean, it's still not looking like he's going to do things, but we had a hot streak with him, so gotta go with him.
Is he your missing link? Because you went 11-5, correct?
True. But
yeah.
I'm afraid he's going to be just like Singleton. He's going to be like 5 games. He's going to be good enough to make us win, and then we drop a couple of games on turnovers, and then you end up like 10-6, and then maybe you make the playoffs, but you have to go through the wildcard round, and it's going to be tough to win, even with a quarterback that's like the 12th or 15th best in the league.
Now, this is a question for everyone, because we asked this a while back in this show. Do you need an elite quarterback to win? Or can you do it with a 40 rated quarterback or a 45 rated quarterback? And I'll let it go around the room. Go ahead, guys.
So I'll start. No, or having just traded for an elite quarterback. I think you just need someone that works with what you do. So like when I won with Adams, he was like a 45 rated quarterback, but he just had really great deep throwing bars, and that was kind of all I was interested in. So he worked for me. But I definitely think it helps.
I think if you're an experienced game planner, that probably helps. Like, I'm still trying to learn the ropes and stuff. I don't think that I could have a terrible quarterback and win a lot of games. I'm not that good of a game planner yet. I still need some talent. I think that's what we were lacking in Arizona earlier. Just to put a rubber stamp on that discussion. If we can get more talent in the room, then hopefully we can get more than 4 wins.
I just think it depends on what other pieces you have in place. I think, an elite quarterback can make up for mediocre wide receivers and even linemen, but it's really hard if you have, a mediocre quarterback, even if he has some of the right bars, if you don't have good weapons and the guys with the right bars to throw to and stuff. At least for me, that's how I've found. I've had success with mediocre quarterbacks or guys that, wouldn't you'd look and say, how's that happen? But I had to have the other pieces in place. That was just me. But I agree with what Jop said that, it's a lot easier when you do have an elite quarterback to go along with those pieces.
Well, yeah, looking at my team, I think I have the wide receivers to make a mediocre quarterback work, but yeah.
It can be done, but it's a lot of work to work with 40s. I've lived off of 40 rated wide receivers forever and ever and ever. And that's when I learned to run and play D. Because I refuse to finish. I don't think I've ever lost more than 7 games in a year that I can remember. But it's hard. I don't just want to be the tanking GM that has a bundle of picks every year, has 80 rated wide receivers all over the place. I wouldn't feel right. Win with what you got.
No, because I brought this up before. Teams that run well, I mean very well, do you need to spend money on a top-end quarterback? Where you're spending $70 million on a quarterback when you have 2 running backs that are dominant and you're spending on them $25 million or maybe $30 million.
And they're recyclable too. The running backs are recyclable. The O-lines will get paid. And the running backs, I could stick anybody back there. The quarterback, Shelton and Coffee cost me $30 million combined, which was half the salary of some of the big guys. And we did okay. We went to far in the playoffs many times. We didn't get to the bowl, mind you, but I still put together a team with pretty much what most people would deem as garbage.
I will say, though, Rick, you did just say that you don't think you've lost more than, 7 games generally in a season?
Yeah.
Yeah, last year you went 4-12, but
that was me, unfortunately.
That was not me.
No, that was
me. I was looking at Houston in 2096 when you were there.
Oh, that was my last. That's what I was saying. That was the last time I can remember ever losing badly.
Right.
You went 7-9, 3 separate seasons in Houston.
There you go.
I'm looking at it right now.
I don't finish 1 win, 2 win, 3 wins, 4 win, 5 win, things like that. I don't usually finish that.
We're changing it now.
I'm just saying, I don't normally lose a shit ton of games. Anyone that knows me, I don't lose that many games.
No, that's true. I always love how you run it. Like, I can't get my head into how you get that successful with running it.
I mean, that's what I'm trying to learn at the moment. I stepped right into Rick's shoes in Arizona with the same players that he had that first season. I had to let go of Krieger because he was in the last year of his deal and he wanted $100 million a season.
Yeah, that was a given. He was going to ask for a fortune. That's no doubt there. I would have had to let him go too.
Yeah, just because I needed to re-sign other guys. And I mean, ironically, I spent the money on extending a couple of guys, and then one of them is the guy who's tore his patella tendon and's been out for 60 weeks or something. I don't even know if he's going to survive PS2, but actually he hasn't. Sometimes if they have a terrible injury, they get that watched closely. Like he hasn't got that yet, so I don't know if that's a good sign or if he could still get that if it gets closer to when he's returning. Or I don't know what's going to happen with that guy. But yeah, it's not as easy as just sticking a load of run plays in there. That's what I'm finding out.
Well, if you look at our draft, you can see Rick's fingerprints on that.
And he signed you guys signed the old Arizona quarterback as well, Coffee.
Yeah, Coffee's back.
Yeah.
Well, he was cheap, so hey, why not?
Yeah, you got this guy. at 121.
Yeah.
I can't believe he dropped that far.
Yeah, he looks good.
And then you got a second running back in the 5th round. Now, like I said, so you don't think you should have an elite quarterback if you're a running team. Now, do you pick your players based upon how you game plan? Like, I'm going to use myself as an example. I don't know really how to game plan too well for running, so I go passing, right? So I get the pieces for that. Do you guys think the same way? Like, do you pick running because you're not good with passing game planning, or it's just that you haven't got the quarterback and wide receivers for the passing game?
The latter part, which you just said. I don't have the assets, so I had to do with what I got. At least that's my mentality. And if I have an O-line where only 2 guys can run block, and I don't have anything else, I'll just try to run behind them and eke out what I can until I can build the other pieces.
How about you, Mel?
I think, I mean, being in the position I was this year to take the quarterback, it's like it is with a view to switching it to a more balanced game plan. But or at least leaning a little bit more towards passing, because like I said last year, we were too easy to stop once we got into the red zone and stuff. So I think you do want to have something to keep people honest, you know, unless you can just be totally dominant on the run in every situation. But like I said, I'm still trying to learn about the nuances of coming up with good running game plans. So I'd like to start trying to pass a little bit more, but the receivers I was able to get were, you know, guys that were still available at the end of free agency. You know, there wasn't much competition on. So not that many good receivers ever make it to free agency in the first place. So we'll see what I can get out of them.
Jugs, have you ever had a passing offense, or you always stay with your running offense?
I've had some passing teams. I've had some
Detroit,
balanced teams.
TFL.
I've had some balanced teams. I've had some balanced teams. And in IHOF, when I first came to IHOF, I was pretty balanced, and then I kind of went run heavy. I noticed that everybody was passing, and I'm like, okay, if everybody's passing and defending the pass, then I'll just run. You know, it throws everybody for a loop because they're drafting defensive backs, and I'm just gashing people for 250 yards a game. So, but I've noticed, I mean, I mentioned this a couple shows ago, I've noticed over the last, 10 seasons or so, that there's several GMs that are going run heavy. Because I can no longer find those 90 run blocking guards in the 4th round like I was able to do when I first entered the league again.
Yes, because people watch other people who are successful, and they say, what does that guy have on his roster? And that's what they pick. Now, you have Kornick, which I thought was a great move that you got him one shot in and came out with him. I assume you're going now all balance offense.
Yeah, I'm going to balance it out some more. Fredrickson is just, I think my term for him was he's consistently inconsistent. He'll go 2 or 3 games in a row. He'll play well. And then he'll have back-to-back games in a row where he's throwing 6 interceptions. I mean, almost as bad as Maselli. So I just got sick of the inconsistent quarterback play. And I just need somebody more reliable at the quarterback position. Somebody who can convert 3rd downs. If I throw a pass on 1st and 2nd down, I need that pass completed, not him overthrowing the wide receiver, which, again, that's stuff that you see in Soul Vision when you're reading Soul Vision. It will tell you exactly what's happening on the play. And there's just way too many mistakes that were happening at the quarterback position for the whole time that I had practiced.
I know Iowa must be feeling sick because he lost this guy. He traded for him, and now he's not on his team.
And he released Yamashita to try and sign him, and then still didn't get him.
Thank you.
He should have released Yamashita last year, not this year.
What do you mean he released him and tried to sign him?
To free up the cap,
he released Yamashita to free up cap room to try and sign Kornick back.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And what he should have did was release Yamashita last year so he could have re-signed Kornick while he was still under contract. There was just absolutely no way he was going to be able to compete with some of the other teams salary wise and bonus wise to retain him. He just couldn't.
But didn't he shoot himself in the foot by renegotiating and releasing a couple of players on the same stage?
Yeah.
Yep, that happened.
That really drained his every little bit of cap room for Iowa for this season as well.
Yep.
Yeah, he really put himself in a hole. At the end
Yeah,
of the day.
I mentioned that a few shows ago. I've never seen anybody do that ever. I've never seen a GM do what he did. And like I say, I think he's been playing the game longer than me, Grimmer. Like, we've never made a mistake like that. That, to me, just doing that was just crazy.
Yeah. Grim, how about you? Do you go after elite quarterbacks, or you're just staying with average quarterback with good runners?
I haven't had a lot of money for a while, so I'm stuck with shit quarterbacks. God, I even tried to get the guy that was on Rochester, and Sefer got him. But yeah, I even tried to get that guy. Just like I said, this has been a terrible free agency for me. I couldn't get scrubs. I couldn't get good guys. I just lost out on everything. So
you got Miles Hanks. He was in Arizona for a little while, I think.
Yep, and he may very well be the star. I don't think he's going to be good. I mean, I can't keep going with Michelli. He's just not the quarterback on top. Clay,
didn't you just re-sign Maselli?
I did, but I was trying to free up some cap space. So by re-signing him to an extra year, I got like $10 million off this year. So, but I think I'll dink around with Hanks a little bit, see if I can't get him to do something. I don't like his sense rush. He's probably gonna get sacked a lot, and he doesn't run the ball like I'm used to having the last few seasons. So, but we'll see.
I bet he doesn't throw 7 interceptions in a single game.
Yeah. Let's keep our fingers crossed. I wouldn't put it past me in my game plan for him to do that, though. So,
Rob,
what's up?
Are you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. You like to trade. Since this was brought up, and I know it's a sore spot for Jugs, would you have made that trade with Ben?
If I was trading to Ben, I would have made the trade if I was Ben.
No, if you were Slam, who's Fort Wayne.
Hell no. Hell no. I wouldn't know. I wouldn't have traded it to anyone, let alone Ben. Nor would I don't have a quarterback. I have Mo Riley as my quarterback. I mean, hell no.
I'm asking you because you said I will trade with anybody.
Said he loves to trade and he will trade with literally anyone, and he wouldn't have made
trade with anyone. But I'm not going to make a dumbass trade and hurt myself. But and I say that not to be critical. I'm just saying, if you got a chance to get an elite quarterback or an elite wide receiver, and you pass it up to me, you get whatever you have coming to you in regards to down the road. Those guys don't come all the time, and when you have a chance to get one, you take it.
All right, there you go. I just wanted to hear from someone who would trade with anybody.
I'll trade with anyone, and I hope like I said, I'm not trying to offend anyone. Beautiful deal, just not one that I would have made in that particular situation. And if I did, I would want it a hell of a lot more than I got. That's just me, though.
Well, the reason why I asked that question is because I was just going to go to Grim and tell Grim Ben has a quarterback on the market.
Yeah, I'm not giving up a first-round pick for him. We looked at him already. Anthony Edwin or Edwin Anthony, whatever it is. Nope, not for me.
Does he want a first for him?
Well, last year he put him on the block for a second. No, he put him on the block for a second-round pick last year. And
maybe a second.
And honestly, at this point, he has even less value than a second because he's never ever going to play on his team. So what is he worth now? A third? I mean, he's never ever going to play unless his guy gets hurt. So he doesn't even really have second-round value now.
Plus the avoid interceptions part. We talked about that.
And the sense rush, I think, is 20 or something, or 22 maybe.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
What, are you a running GM, Grim, or do you pass? What sort of split do you?
I'm trying to. I try to remain balanced. I mean, for me, I always say a good season for me is 4,000 yards passing and 2,000 yards rushing. If I can get that every season, I'll make the playoffs. I mean, last year I turned around our defense a little bit, but our fucking offense was god awful last year. I just could not figure it out.
Well,
but
you're
yeah,
not going to be able to figure it out as long as Maselli's playing.
That's true. So that's what we're trying to remedy this situation.
Are you going to cut him?
You're trying to remedy the situation. You're trying to remedy the situation by renegotiating him to an extra year on his deal. That's smart. I like that.
Yeah, exactly. And actually, with that, I'm kind of hoping he's got really high intelligence, so I'm kind of hoping he turns out to be a mentor at some point. I don't think it's going to happen this year, maybe next year, and then maybe I could get a couple young guys in next year. But yeah, I don't think, unless something goes seriously fucking wrong, I don't think Landon Michelli will even see the field this year.
What happened to?
So if he becomes a mentor, he could teach your other QBs how to throw 7 interceptions in a game.
Yep, exactly.
Jugs.
That's exactly what I'm looking for, Bob.
Jugs, what happened to? Why don't you make the quarterback work? Where is that speech?
Make the quarterback work.
I don't know if you can make Michelli work. I mean, he had a decent season the first season he started.
But that's what you said. That's what you said like 3 shows in a row is you could make him work.
Yeah. Well, last season proved I couldn't. So.
I remember Landon.
And yet,
I feel your pain,
you signed him to an extension.
I did.
In
like
that
I said,
season,
that was to free up cap space. If he doesn't become a mentor this year or next year, I'll cut him. But
I need some cap.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
You don't need cap space because you have $55 million going into late free agency. What do you have now?
43.
Okay, so apparently you don't need cap space.
No.
Yeah.
But I only have 43 because again, shitty free agency. I could not sign anybody.
And next year you're going to be in a great spot.
Yeah, I should have some money next year.
A lot.
how affected is your potential player pool by chemistry? Because I know you do chemistry, don't you? So
yeah. I'll hit the attitude advisory, Clay. So over the last 10 seasons, I think my affinities have been shit, and over the last couple seasons, I've been trying to get them back together again. So
let's do this.
That looks pretty good to me.
We're learning from all those affinities that you have is it doesn't matter because your quarterback is still bad.
Yes.
It doesn't help your quarterback play any better.
Yeah, well, I finally fixed the leadership position on my secondary last season, and I'm usually ranked 30th to 32nd on the pass, and we actually were number 9 last year. So fixing the affinities on my secondary, I think, definitely helped that out.
Yeah, let's look at that. You have 3 affinities for your quarterback, but yet he was a 58 rated.
Michelli was just fucking bad last year, man. So was Andy Tobin. They're both just bad.
They both had the exact same quarterback rating.
Yep.
Oh, they do?
Yeah, they had the exact same quarterback rating, both of them.
58.4.
That's awful.
Isn't that crazy?
That is awful. And then we looked at this.
I think I can suit up and transform and put myself into FOF and play better.
What happened? What was the deal with Michelli in 21-13 though? Because that season looks okay, like 7 average per attempt, 30 touchdowns. I mean,
no, I
right. That gave him false hope. That's why he kept on saying how good he was going to be.
Yeah, well, I had 21-13. I mean, James Jarvis, I had him 1,300 yards. We were just passing better, and then I got Borders from Jugs, and got rid of one of my 10-year wide receivers, and our cohesion just went to shit. So that was probably a mistake, but we'll see how it goes. Jarvis was also injured last year, and then, like I said, the last game of the season, I had some bullshit to deal with, so I didn't get to export, which means James Jarvis didn't even come back onto the roster, and that's the game we threw 7 picks. I couldn't game plan for it, so we'll see. We'll see how this season goes. I mean, we still got, another week or so before shit starts, and people will be making cuts and stuff. So we'll see if I can land another quarterback. Maybe even dig around and see if I can trade for one. So I'm not sold on Miles Hanks at all. So, and I don't want to start my Chelly.
Guys, can we look at the first 5 picks in the draft, or even 10, and see what we think of the players?
Oh yeah, I don't mind.
Sure.
Yeah, do the draft review. I mean, we've already talked about the quarterbacks, so just move on from there.
And we can skip the first 4 picks.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's give Arizona his due. Mel here.
So Clay, I think you want to go to Chronicle and Journal and Amateur Draft History. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
No. Chronicle, Journal, Amateur Draft History.
There it is. All right. We saw Brady, what he looks like, but looks like a Horner, Arizona. He picked
Yeah. Like I said, at that point, I was happy with either of those guys. Really, those two for me were on an island of their own. I mean, he's green as hell, like literally and figuratively. He is so green, and I just,
good.
Yeah, like all of his pass bars, 0. He's just so underdeveloped. So it's going to be interesting to see how it goes. I think we'll still be leaning on the run, while he gets some starts, but he's a long way off being what he's going to be.
I'm going to give you a tad bit of advice, and I don't know if I haven't looked, but you need to get him a mentor like ASAP.
I know. I tried in free agency, and the only guy who was left was the guy who was my veteran last year, who wouldn't sign with me because of is it personal grievances or whatever they say when when you've wronged them and they won't sign for you because he was complaining about playing time.
Past injustices.
Yeah, that's it. Past injustices. Yeah, he was the last mentor left.
And you need to look on everybody's roster and see who's willing to trade a mentor to you and get one like ASAP.
Yeah, I was hoping one might get cut, but I'm going to try and get someone in. Yeah, because otherwise he's just going to be green.
I have one for 3 first-round picks.
Yeah, a blockbuster trade for a mentor.
Yeah.
There's a couple of guys on the market.
Yeah, that's definitely someone I'll be looking to bring in.
I'm going in the market, and I'm going to make sure I pick those guys up. I'm going to spend all my money.
You're going to hoover up all the mentors. I mean, even my backup is a 6th-round pick from last year, so I could do with a mentor just to get both of those guys over the line. But I'm happy with him. I'm happy with this guy. That's the first quarterback I've drafted in my. I think I've played 10 seasons of multiplayer across 3 leagues, and that's the first time I've drafted a quarterback. So I'm happy with him.
Everyone else, do you guys like the pick at number 2?
Oh yeah, top 2 were slam dunks.
Yeah, I don't like the 1%. I had a 1%, and he was shit for his whole career. I mean, that was when I was new as well, but I just regretted him forever. Hence his nickname, The Regret.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah, he sucked.
And I think when I saw the 1%, that is obviously, you do put a little black mark next to that. But I thought, there's no way I'm taking any other position. Like the wide receiver class wasn't that strong. If it was a stronger receiver class, I would have taken a receiver in the top 2 or whatever, and just rolled the dice on a QB again next year if I'd had a record that was bad enough to get another high pick. But I didn't think there was enough positional value outside of the quarterbacks.
Now he's going to struggle because you have no wide receivers.
Yeah.
Did you trade to get him, or is that just a pick, Tom?
Who's that? The quarterback? No, that was my pick at 1-2. Yeah, no, I didn't trade.
No,
for him.
I like that pick, even despite of the low development. Just play him and live with whatever. I would have taken him if I were you.
Well, the quickest way for him to develop is to play him. Like, he's not going to develop by you just sitting him on the bench watching somebody else play. So
yeah, you're going to have to suck up 20-plus interceptions for a couple years in a row.
Yeah. And the thing is
probably
the way
3 years in a row.
Yeah, he's going to take. I mean, like we were saying earlier, his whole rookie deal is probably going to be developmental. You know, he's not going to be what he is after 3 seasons or 4 seasons. But where we are at the moment in this build with Arizona, we're not under pressure to be contending for a playoff spot. You know, it's not like everything hinges on this guy going from 1% to 60% straight away.
He'll be an old man in a wheelchair and then be able to take over.
Yeah, like we've got a running game that we can lean on. And then if we could just try and get Horner a decent amount of throws per game to get him his development and stuff, then that's what we'll have to do. But yeah, like you said, Clay, I haven't got any. I mean, I've got wide receivers now, but I haven't got any good wide receivers that can make Horner's life much easier. So
yeah, when we talked about the show, we were saying that you needed a quarterback or a wide receiver, and you are correct. Yeah. There was no wide receivers really in the draft except for, I think, everyone liked Montgomery. Outside of that,
there was no one who, for me, would have been better value to take than either of those 2 quarterbacks.
Correct.
You know?
Yeah, you got 12 wide receivers on your roster right now. Holy shit.
Yeah, I know. I sort of went a bit scattergun at the end to try and get some guys in. So some of them, you know, not everyone's going to be there, but
yeah.
we needed warm bodies in the room. So
he's doing his best Tucker impersonation.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the one thing I can copy about Ben now is I just get as many wide receivers in as possible.
And you're going to run the ball 30 times per game.
Yeah.
No, I like your quarterback, and if he develops into those bars, yes. He's 21. He'll be 25 by the time he's developed. He's 6'1", 211. He's got the bars I like.
That's something I was thinking about is obviously because he's so underdeveloped. Like, apart from injuries and stuff, volatility going forwards, like, is there any chance that he doesn't reach those bars just based on volatility, or is it a case of he will reach those bars, it will just take 4 or 5 seasons for him to get there?
Oh, that's a good question. Like,
well, it's going to take him a few seasons to unmask the volatility. Either it's going to hit or it doesn't. The volatility has nothing to do with his development.
Well, are you considering then getting a mentor as well? Because you don't have one now, and I think that would help his development a little bit.
We talked about that. You were gone.
All right.
Yeah, I need to get a mentor in.
Yeah, the worst thing to do is not play him, which you're not going to do. So you're fine there. You just got to find him a buddy.
Oh yeah, I've got no reason to sit him for anyone else. Yeah.
And here's something else that you don't do, and I want you to pay attention. You don't develop this guy for 4 years and then trade him after 6. That's what you don't do. Because you essentially develop him for somebody else to use him. That makes absolutely
don't be
no
the
sense.
farm system. Don't be the farm system.
No.
That's for sure.
No.
And if you do, trade him to me, Tom. I will overpay.
No.
But Jugs, what happens if he's not working on his team?
You make him work.
If he fills out those bars,
if he's not working, you find wide receivers to make him work. You find tight ends to make him work. You get an offensive line to make him work. You find running backs. You draft a fullback who can block, who can pass catch. You find players to make your 75, 80 rated quarterback work. You don't just say, "Oh, to hell with this! I can't make it work. Let me get rid of him." That's not what you do.
Yeah, and I game plan. So like I'm learning to game plan. And I do it all the time for every game basically. So I'm happy to try and learn. And if he does develop into those bars and I can't make him work, then I know it's not the player, it's me. So, but I'm happy with him.
All right. We'll go to the next pick. The next pick is... Oh, he wasn't... Oh, yeah, he was picked. Here's the tackle that was picked. The right tackle.
Well, that's hard to admit now. All of us thinks we know this game. All of us think we know how to game plan. All of us think we know how to pick a QB and put an offense together. And, everybody thinks they can do that. And then things don't go well and you start to struggle. It's frustrating. I get it. But you can't give up. Oh, well, I'll just trade the guy and start over. Like, what did Jug just say? You spent 6 years developing this guy. You're going to trade him away and watch somebody else win a bowl with him now.
And how many seasons do we do a year? Is it like 10 a year or something?
Yeah, every 6 weeks the season rolls.
So it's like 8 months of real time that you've sunk into.
Rub dirt in it and take a lap. We go through preseason again next, in a month.
We go through 8 seasons in a calendar year in this league. That's just absolutely incredible.
So I mean, if you're having a bad year and things aren't working, about 5-6 weeks from now, you'll be fine. It'll be a new season. It's not that long.
I think people take losses or losing seasons hard. It hits them hard. Where they check out. I started doing these chats to get people more involved, engaged.
And it works, Clay. Thank you.
No, you're welcome. Where everyone can say what they feel or what they're learning, or we're all learning something from, and we're getting experience from the more experienced GMs. But it gets people more interactive in their team. That's why I try to talk about everyone's team as best as possible and hear everyone else's opinion. And when someone has a losing season, I can see them checking out instead of just saying, what's going on with my team? How am I going to fix it? Let me do this with my game plan and make it work for next season. You know what I mean?
That's why I love these chats as well, because even if I don't have the time to listen to all of it, I always want to go and listen to what you've said about my team, just to be like, oh yeah, shit, that I should look at that, because it's just really helpful to hear other people's opinions.
Totally. And having you guys on to talk about your team, since you know it better than us, you can tell us why you're doing what you're doing and the approach you're taking. But this was the right tackle that was picked by mistake. Terrible pick.
It can still make him work, but it's not a top 3 pick.
It's a terrible pick for 1-3. It's not a terrible pick overall.
Yeah, that one. Yeah. He said he woke up and he was auto-picked on him. So again, if you're going to grab the quarterback, why not make sure he's in your list in priority where he's supposed to be?
Yeah, that was weird, because we agreed the trade, and I knew we wanted a quarterback. I knew he was going for a quarterback. We'd agreed the trade, and he messaged me saying, don't forget to move the pick. And I hadn't realised 1-1 and 1-2 had gone, so I moved the pick.
And it fired.
And yeah, immediately for that guy. So I wonder whether he hadn't set the list or what. But
I will say this: I have had a number of times where I set my priority list, then I'll be clicking around, and then I'll go back to my priority list, and it was adjusted somehow. So maybe that happened, but that happens to me every time I'm in Conscriptor almost. I just make sure my priority's set to where it is. I'll go to a different website, go here and Conscriptor, come back, and the top guy is not the top guy anymore. So I don't know what the hell happens there. So maybe that happened in this situation.
What you never want to do is you have that pause button, and you have a player at the bottom of your list, and you click on that pause button, and you put him back on your list, and he will come to the top of your list. That's something you don't want to do.
Yep.
I know people's heads exploded when a right tackle was picked and it was on the forum. And people were like, what the
fuck? even the people who'd been sort of empathetic about everything that had happened before were like, oh, fucking hell, come on. You're supposed to be taking a QB here, like, what's going on? But
at least he's from Michigan. That should work for him.
Yeah. Yeah, and like you say, he's not a bad tackle, but he's not a 1.3. So it's just unfortunate.
So the next guy who was picked is the quarterback. So he goes and gets the quarterback now that he needed.
Andy Donovan.
There it is, Andy Donovan. Your takes, guys?
Third best.
Same thing we've been saying, 55, maybe.
Yeah, 50, 55, yeah.
Yeah, I think we've covered Donovan. Screw it, move past him.
We will.
I mean, the Bars may let him play well in a good game plan, but as far as rating, I'm not going to have the other two.
Chicago takes his cornerback.
I don't understand this pick.
Yeah,
we talked about this on the last show. All right, Rob.
All right, guys, take care.
Yep. Take care, Rob. See you later, man.
Brother. Hey, Rob, thanks for stopping by, man.
I'll try to be back again. Take care, fellas.
See you, Rob.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we talked about this Zach Eccles on the last show. This is just a very puzzling pick. And it looks like this guy's going to drop in ratings, too. I don't understand understand the selection at all.
No,
He's
considering there
definitely
was
not a top. He's not a top 5 player. He's not a top 15 player in this draft.
no, there was
were
better.
like 7
there was-
linebackers that were better than him.
Yeah, and there was better secondary, better than this guy. But looking at his team, he does need some secondary help. But I don't know if this guy is going to be it.
No, the guy he could have picked there was the guy 3 picks behind.
Yeah, I don't like the pick. I think it's a terrible pick. The man-to-man is non-existent.
No, this guy could play at safety, but not at cornerback.
Yeah, but you're picking at 1.5 to put him at free safety.
Yeah.
Not a 1-5 talent.
No.
That's all it is.
You can get this guy in the 4th or 5th round.
Exactly. You got it.
This kind of guy, I mean.
Yeah, so that's my take on it. And he's 63% already developed. And look what his bars are already.
Yeah, that's not good.
It was a need, but he could have held out and got something later and got something better. So
I don't know if he was, like you said, it was a need. I don't know if he was just drafting, trying to draft I think he was a blue group guy, like a smart guy. So maybe that's what he was thinking. But yeah, it's not ability-wise. I don't think he's a.
Maybe it was. I think it was listening to Jugs. I think Jugs gave him advice to get cornerbacks, or was that Iowa? It was one of the two.
Well, it's anybody in your division. They need pass rushers and defensive backs. But again, that goes back to you need a defensive back. That doesn't mean you take a mediocre defensive back. Not at 1.5.
You take the best player at 1.5 and you draft, rounds 2, 3, and 4, you get corners.
Yeah, just address the need in another round.
Right. You draft best available. If you're going defense, draft best available player on defense. Like I said, there's like 7 linebackers in this draft that are going to be 60+ rated.
Well, can you put up Patrick Garcia, the number 8 pick?
Yeah,
I really like that guy.
That was the guy.
I like this guy.
You have to move him. I think you'd move him to corner, but still.
Let me get to Colorado. Garcia.
I said on the last show there were 3 guys. I was sitting at 8. I was going to wait, and then Pizer put the pick on the block, and let's go up and get it.
All right, go ahead, Matt.
Oh yeah, well, I was just going to say, I think if you're going secondary, then this is the guy you pick here. I even tried to trade up for the number 8 pick to get this guy, but yeah. I think this is the guy you try to get if you are going secondary. This is the guy that is man-to-man, zone defense. He's got everything to play on every down.
Well, I like to hear Zap's take in the forum about why he picked that cornerback. He saw something in that cornerback that he picked him that we're not seeing.
Maybe the bars on his end were the other way around.
I do
the other
wonder
guy
if he
looked
got
better.
lured by the 63% developed and just thought he can go now.
Or was he duped by his own defensive coordinator scout bar to see something bigger than it really wasn't there?
Well,
yeah.
His defensive coordinator scout is 56.
Yeah, there it is.
So he probably saw him better.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, look at 16. Look at 116. Herman Jones. He's on North Plainfield. The guy's an absolute monster. That's somebody else he passed on.
That's another guy. Yep.
Let me get to him.
He's an absolute monster.
And what's his name? Jones.
He's right at the bottom.
Herman Jones.
Yeah,
there we go.
He looks good as well. Do you guys care about size on defensive backs, like weight and height?
I do.
Depends on where they're playing. Safeties, they like to have 6 foot plus.
Yeah.
Cornerbacks. I'll take a 5'9" cornerback. Play him in the slot and shit.
Yeah.
So
Good bars are good bars.
Yep.
You'd rather have the taller guy, but
Yeah.
But Jugs, on this guy Jones, I don't like him for 1.5. Here's why. One, he has no workout. Number two, you're not sure where that man-to-man and zone is going to be. It's a gamble at 1.5 with no workout. You're not even seeing any combines. You're kind of rolling the dice here. My take.
Okay, so let me ask you a question.
Bars rule in FOF8. Bars rule over combines in FOF8.
Yes.
So let me ask you a question, Clay.
Yeah.
How many times do you see somebody draft a no combine player in the top 10 of a draft? And out of all those players, how many bust and how many make it? Because I'm going to tell you what, most of them make it. I used to be just like you. I used to say the exact same thing. And guess what? He's right. It's bar league. The game is all bars right now.
Now I'm going to agree with both of you guys on the bar thing. However, he's only showing a 15 and a 19 on his bars, one on man-to-man, one in zone. The green to me means nothing if you can't reach those potentials.
That's true, but he's only 31% developed. He's showing 79 by your scout. He's showing 79 by the league scout. This guy's
a monster, Clay.
He's going to be a 75 plus rated player. He drafted a 55 rated player. That's 20 points difference.
But I agree with you, Jugs. I agree with you. I agree with you. The other guy is terrible.
He's a monster, Clay.
He's not terrible, but he's not a cornerback.
No, it's made worse by the fact these guys were still on the board. That's what makes the other one seem worse.
Well, it comes down to, are you looking for a corner or a safety? You're right, Matt.
What if this safety can actually play corner?
I mean, both those defensive backs, this guy and the safety before that went to Colorado, they look versatile enough to play across the whole secondary if you needed them to.
Sure.
They're not. I mean, and you'd want that. If you're picking a defensive back that high up, you're not picking a one-bar guy. You're picking someone who can play most coverages.
We have different kinds of drafts, too. I mean, some drafts you're looking and the cornerback class looks really good and the safeties are thin. And you got people trying to find a corner that can move to safety. I thought this draft, the corner class was a little thin, and the top two defensive backs were both safeties, those two guys. And you'd have been looking at least at Garcia to move to corner, maybe this guy too.
Yeah, there was no first round value at cornerback, like if you don't position switch.
Yeah.
So all of us don't like that pick. Now we
at
have
that spot, at that spot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We have you, Red Zone, that came up with your running back that you moved up to get him, and I think someone asked you if you.
Well, Ken called me out, and he's right. Thank you, Ken, for holding me to task. I did say I was going to sit and wait and let it come to me, and then the show ended, and I go on the site, and here's Pizer. 1.6 is available, and I'm thinking, oh, man. Am I really going to sit here and take the third of the three? Because that's what I can end up with. Or am I going to move up and take the guy I want? And the guy I wanted more than the rest was Marsh. I looked at this Liam, whatever his name is, the other running back. I liked him too. But he was older. And I just felt like Marsh is the guy that jumped off the page at me. He's the guy that said, come get me, I can help you. And I said, you know what, okay. And
Did you even think about the wide receiver switch when you looked at this guy?
I was talking about him with another GM, and it was mentioned, but I really didn't take him to do that. And then once he hit the roster, I looked again, and I'm like, damn, look at this. He could really be a good wide receiver. But I've already paid Yamashita all this money, and I've got Fields. I mean, how many footballs are there? And I don't have a stud QB. I like my QB. I think he's going to do fine. But I don't have somebody that's capable of running T-Zac's offense with three stud receivers, I don't think. And then Harden is getting older. So can he carry that kind of a load? I mean, as a part of a two-back offense, I think I've got a great running game. When you move Marsh to receiver, my running game starts to get questionable. I think we're going to stay with the original plan, and we'll just throw him the ball out of the backfield. That's all.
Yeah.
But yeah, I posted on the forum. What is it? He's 25 of 63 or something as a running back, and he goes to 23 of 68 at receiver. And the big play bar is just under 75 on the high end of it. So
wow,
it shows 68 once you flip him and go into the trade thing. I think he could be a monster receiver, yeah.
How do you see that, what you're saying?
You do the position change, and then you go into that trade screen that I showed you, and you right-click on the player, and it shows you his bars.
Okay. All right.
Make sure you don't export, though. If
you don't want, don't do that.
If you don't want to leave the guy as a receiver. So will that be an option for you going forwards, Bob? Like if you bring in another running back or something, you know that he could convert later on, do you think?
I have a trade lined up right now that I can make for another running back and move him to receiver. But like I said, pretty much, I mean, Yamashita's 64 overall? Okay, that to me, that's 3 stud receivers. That's not my offense, and it's not my quarterback, and are there enough footballs? If I hadn't signed Yamashita, it'd be real tempting. And
I think it'd be a waste of that whole rec bar, though.
I mean, he's going to be good.
Bar's maxed.
Yeah,
change him. His route bar's maxed.
And that getting downfield looks amazing. And you said the big play receiving was just under 75. I mean, that's
it shows us 68 when you do that trade screen thing.
That's crazy.
And he's showing 68 current, 68 future overall. So I'm like, yeah, I can't lie. It's tempting. I can get off this show, go to the forum, and post a trade and let this guy know, hey, come on and confirm. And I'll have another running back, and I can make the move. I just don't know that I want to do that. I really want a team that is run first. I want to use those receivers to hurt people after they stop my running game.
I have a question because someone triggered something in my head. Your bars of your player that you like, there's a certain type of bar you want for a certain type of position. Is the 50 mark the minimum? Not the minimum, the maximum you go past?
We talked about this last night.
Yes. So, for instance, a running back, hole recognition, it must be 50 or more, or I don't take that running back. Is that for you guys on a player?
Yeah,
No.
I would agree to that.
No, for me not. For me, it's more like 70. 70 is like, okay, this guy is really good. And everything below, it's like, 50, 40. It more depends on everything else. But to me, a bar that's 70, 75, that's the minimum to think, okay, this guy has the right bar for the thing he has to do.
So based on what you just said, Mats, you would take a wide receiver must have like a route running bar of 70?
Hopefully he does have. I think that's the minimum, yeah, I want to have.
Anyone else?
There was a good post on the forum where Iowa had asked for help, I think, either last season or the season before. And I know Jugs gave advice in there, and Tizak gave like a breakdown of how to understand the route running bar. And he just said 70 route running equals this many targets per season, 60 equals this many targets per season. So it's just about how much production you can expect to get out of a guy for a certain level of that bar. And that was really insightful into that for me, at least, to see that. That helped me think about route running and all the other bars in that sort of way.
Okay, but that's only true if he's the primary target that number of times. Because the game's going to throw to the primary target no matter what the route bars are.
Oh, yeah. That was just if he was the primary
target. So you can stick two guys with 90 route bars on X and Z and throw the slot all day long. And they can't double them.
What you mean? Because if they're doubling best or whatever, they're getting picked up on the outside.
If there's two guys with 90 route bars at X and Z, and R has a 55 route bar or a 40 route bar, and he's the primary on 80% of your throws, he's going to catch 100 balls.
Yeah. If you can, if you've got the system to do that,
I mean, it's great in theory, but there's ways around everything.
Yeah. If you were looking at it in a vacuum, then that's how you'd want to look at it. Is you'd want the guy with the highest route running. But like you say, if you had just one guy on the roster and he had high route running, then people would just double him on every play.
Now the flip side, and where people would tell me I'm wrong, and they could be right. I'm not claiming to have all the fucking answers here. This game's crazy. But the flip side is, if he's got a 40 route bar, will he get open? Or will the QB go to the secondary receiver more?
I'm asking this question because I like to see how you guys look at players. For myself, and Red Zone knows this, if you offer me a wide receiver with like a 40 rated route running bar, I won't take him.
He doesn't want him.
If he has 50, I actually prefer 55 because just in case it drops a little bit after PS2. So I have my barrier. And so I want to see for you guys, maybe for run blocking or pass blocking, you won't go past this, or a running back. Is there a barrier you won't take a player because you say the run bar or their bar that I find special or important is not past what I want it to be?
For me, I think it depends on what I want them to do. Like I like route running for a receiver, sure, but I might take someone with crap route running but great kick returning, or really good third down catching, and or big play receiving. There's one route that I run that I'm not too bothered about route running, and it's normally my third guy I get to do it. I want big play receiving, and it's like a deep fade from the R. And that I throw that like once or twice a game, and it's either a 60-yard completion or nothing. But I'm not too bothered about the route running for that. So I don't think I have a minimum. It just depends on what I'm feeling.
Yeah, I think Ben would tell you that he wants the route bar and the big play bar because he's throwing deep. That's helping him complete those passes. So I mean, that's like I said, there's a bunch of things that come into play. It's not just having a high route bar. That's not like a magical cure-all. I mean, it sure helps, but
anyone else?
For my offense, I don't necessarily require a high route running bar because I don't throw the ball enough. So if I'm throwing the ball 20 to 25 times a game, I don't need three wide receivers that have an 80 route running bar. I can get by with wide receivers that have a 30, 40, and 50 route running bar. They're only going to get 3 or 4 targets a game. It doesn't matter.
Right.
No, but your running backs need a certain hole recognition bar.
Not necessarily if they're outside runners.
True. That's not true either.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not true either because look at Brian Maxwell on my team. Pull up Maxwell.
Hold on.
Look at where his hole rec bar is.
So, yeah, let's use Maxwell right now, Jugs. Is 50 mark the lowest you'll go, or would you take him if he had a 40 hole recognition? And this is what I'm speaking of.
I show him as 40. So I show him as 48. And I'd say out of how many carries does it show he had? He had 262. I'd say out of the 262 carries that he had this past season, probably 180 to 200 of them were outside. I gave him outside runs because his hole rec bar isn't that high. And look, he's averaged 6 yards a carry the last 2 seasons.
So you use the speed to the outside bar instead of the hole rec bar.
Right.
Yep.
Right, and I give him the ball on third down a lot. He's got a 90 third down running bar.
Right.
You got to use your players for what they do best.
And that's where I'm getting this question from. when you guys look at bars and how far you'll go with them and this and that before you take the player on your team, which is good. Yeah.
With that, Jugs, and the third down running bar, are you running him would you feel comfortable running him to the inside on third down because of that bar, or are you just going to keep running him to the outside because you know that's what he's good at on the other downs, and the third down bar will just tip him over the edge?
So the designed runs I had for third down were him running outside. He got subbed into some formations, and then at the end of the game, he actually did have some runs up the middle. Right. But, I mean, he broke some long ones up the middle as well. He's got that high elusive bar.
Yeah.
But if you look at my other guy that's still on the roster, Cam has a whole rec bar 70. So he's the guy that I was using for him, and Harden were the guys that I was using for everything because their whole rec bars are high.
See, Matt can probably speak to this better than anybody, but I think Julio is great at taking a mid-level player and maximizing every bar that guy has. Look at his defense and look at the scores of his games last season and tell me how he did it.
He picks the guys.
I can't figure it out.
He picks the guys with the right bars for his defense that we're speaking of.
I think we were talking one night and somebody said he had 2 games all year where he gave up more than 19 points. Is that right? Or am I remembering it wrong?
Yeah, I think I told you that.
Yeah. 2 games all year where he gave up more than 19 points. Okay, pull up his defensive roster. They're not all 80 overall. He's using those bars perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was actually 3 games.
26
games. Points, 23 points, and 40 points to Mouse Louse last game of the season.
And Matt's facing him twice a year, right? Aren't you in his division, Matt?
That's fucking amazing.
Yeah, 3 times if you get lucky.
There you go. So you could speak to that better than anybody. You're seeing it up
If you
close.
look at his defensive roster, I mean, you can even look at each player individually. He had a couple guys on there that were just like, meh. Like, they didn't even have bars over like 55. And he was still maximizing potential out of them. From what, I don't know. But, like, he had corners playing man and bump who had like 52 bump bars and 52 man bars, and they were shutting people down.
I mean, having a minimum for a bar, sure, that's what you aim for. But, I mean, never say never.
No, well, this is perfect with Julio's team, right? I bet you there's one important bar on a position that he won't go below because that specific bar for him makes his defense. And I'll just use this defensive end that he has right here. Run defense obviously was important for this position for him. I bet you if you asked him, would you take that run defense bar and take this player if it was a 45 run defense bar? He probably would say, no, I want someone that's probably 80 or 90 because that works for his defense. So that's what this question was asked. But go ahead, Jugs.
So click on his cornerback, Donovan Bolware.
Here you go.
He started every game. Look at his man, look at his zone, and look at his bump. None of them are over 50.
And I bet you it's the interception bar for him that's more important.
Yeah, and the run
But he only got one interception. But
maybe the interception
bar. So what good
bar,
is the interception bar? It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
his pass defense percentage was under 80, and he only got 1 pick with the guy.
Yeah, but it's. Can you click on his play?
His career.
Yeah, that's the one.
This?
On defense. Yeah, that screen, but then the defense. You can see the difference between run and pass. Yeah, so he's playing a lot on pass pass plays, but
I mean, he only had 38 tackles. That's not a lot of tackles.
That's weird. But to me, like, especially the interceptions bar, to me it's always also like if you have a couple of guys that have the same bar that are very high, then they together they will generate the interceptions, but they still have to be distributed over those guys. So every now and then, even a guy with this kind of interception bar, he will just have only one interception over the course of a season because the other guys are getting the right dice roll to get credited for the interception.
But you guys are correct. His defense was only allowed 263 points. It was dominant last season, his defense.
Right, and I hear what you're saying as far as his interception bar, but his whole career's been like that. He's been in the league 7 seasons, and he only has 8 interceptions with a 76 interception bar. So the dice rolls are pretty much never coming this guy's way.
So, Judge, do you think the interception bar helps with man-to-man and zone for pass defense? Not picking them off, but blocking them, but blocking the passes.
I think it helps to block the passes, and I think it helps with pass defense. I don't think it helps to cover. I think he just happens to be the recipient, like was just said, like of a dice roll. But in this case, this particular guy doesn't get many dice rolls, even though he has a high interception bar. So I guess the question would be, and I honestly don't have an answer, is the fact that his interception bar so high, is that helping everybody else on the team get picks? Because he's not getting them. You know, are we looking at the secondary as a whole and their interception bars, kind of like how we do as the offensive line as a whole with their run blocking bars? Are we going to do the same thing with the secondary?
There's a guy whose interception bar is generating some interceptions.
Yeah, so this guy is going to always get preference over Bower.
Maybe he's getting them from both of them. They're all coming his way. You got a point.
Maybe it's doing the thing that, Jugs, you said, it doesn't matter where running back runs. Whoever gets, what was it, the pancake? You said something about offensive
It's the key run block, I think, that he was saying.
The key run block is randomly assigned depending on the player and the percentages of his blocking. So, I mean, you could have a 90, an 80, a 70, a 60, and a 50 rated guy. Of course, the 90 rated guy is going to have more of a chance to get the key run block. But the 50 rated guy is going to get a shot too because it's all on a dice roll. And it doesn't matter where you run. Like I said, you'll get runs that run around left end or off left tackle, and the right tackle or the right guard is getting the key run block. I mean, it happens all the time. You can watch Soul Vision. It happens all the time.
Yeah.
So I guess maybe we can apply the same thing for interceptions for the secondary.
That's what I was going to ask. Maybe the same thing is happening.
And Julio did even make a post that said he had a bunch of ball hawks in the secondary, which is why his reason was for why his defense was playing so well. Look real quick. He was third in the league in forced turnovers. And he was actually number 1. He was tied for number 1 in interceptions. 26 forced interceptions.
Nope. Interesting conversation. I just wanted to see what your take was on that. I like hearing what people look at players and how they are and how they think about them. This guy was the linebacker I think you guys really like. Strong. And
there were like 6 or 7 linebackers in this class that were like great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I mean, he's got big red bars.
43%. I mean, 40% developed. Yeah, I like the pick. Great endurance bar.
Well, that is the old joke. When in doubt, just get big red bars. Any player, any
right,
position.
and that's just right. And this is kind of like one of these guys that Chicago passed on that you could have drafted him. It may not be a quote unquote position of need, but you can always use a 75 rated player. Unless you got a 75 rated quarterback, you can use a 75. You can use another 75 rated player. You can't play 275 rated quarterbacks, but you can play 275 rated anything else in this game.
Yeah, good pick, Iowa. Too bad that he's building his team back up after that whole big mistake.
He's a 4-3 in Iowa. Would you guys keep this guy as a linebacker, or would you maybe try him out at end if he can gain any weight?
I keep him at linebacker.
He's 255 now.
He's only 6
but his
foot.
Coverage
though,
bars. Yeah, and his coverage bars look to be too good to put at defensive end.
Yeah.
Well, if he was taller, I'd still move him to defensive end. I don't care about that, but this guy seems like he'd have to stay.
Would it matter, by the way, if he is using a 4-3?
I think in a 3-4, the linemen have to be bigger, don't they? Physically.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
My Falcons and RZB are a 3-4 Eagle, and I have virtually no 3-4 experience. I mean, I think in 20 years of playing this game, I might have had a 3-4 defense on 3 teams for one season each. I mean, it's that thin. I just don't know what I'm doing, and I'm learning as I go. But it's a 3-4 Eagle, and you actually have to have bigger players on the Eagle at certain spots. And then I think the true 3-4 also has spots where they, like the true 3-4 wants a bigger nose tackle. The Eagle wants bigger ends. The linebackers are different back and forth. It's a learning experience.
You can be like Ben and just put up 1,000,000 points and just say, catch me.
Yeah, here's 50. Go ahead and try and score 51, huh?
That's his defense.
Yeah. It's been working for a long time, hasn't it? I actually think Ben is a little better defense than he gets credit for, though, to be honest.
Well, we talked about this last show. His defense has been bad the last 10 seasons. He's given up a ton of points in the last 10 seasons, an absolute ton.
Yeah,
his defense is the last decade hasn't been as good as it used to be.
Do you think it's because of that shootout offense, Jugs? Because he used to run the ball quite well, and back then his defense was fucking horrible to play against.
Yeah, you're right. Maybe the fact that he's quick strike on offense and then he goes 3 and out sometimes, maybe that's killing his defense.
Yeah, and I remember Red Zone brought this up way, way back. Red Zone says, how come other teams will be good a little bit and then they fail for a long time? However, Ben is constantly good. Constantly.
Because he knows how to draft.
Because someone brought up dice.
Ben drafts as well as anybody in the league, with the exception of Mac Powell and maybe T-Zach. Those are the top 3 drafters in the league. Ben, like Ben said in that post, Ben is always going to be able to find 60 rated players at the end of the first round. Clay, you, me, Grimmer, Red Zone, we all may draft somebody at 129 and they end up being 48 overall. Ben hardly ever misses in the first round.
And it's not going to change
I can't recall
soon.
too many times. Right, I can't recall too many times where he's had a first round pick that didn't come out at least 52 or higher.
Yeah, that's not going to change anytime soon. Those are going to be the top 3 drafters because they know what the hell they're doing, and we're all chasing them.
Yeah, Clay's pick at 129 looks like he's going to be in the 40s.
Oh, he was a terrible
Just
pick.
as an example.
He was a terrible pick.
So there we go.
I didn't even know why I picked that guy. I actually like the center I picked that I moved up for, but yeah, that was a terrible pick. He's probably going to be, I think, a 30 rated.
See, this is what Jug is saying. Ben doesn't ever do that. Ever. Malkpaul doesn't ever do that. Dzak hardly ever, if ever, never does that. You know, I mean, these guys are always nailing it. That's why they win every year.
We never ever see them miss on a first round pick.
That's why they win every year.
They may not draft, right? They may not draft a 72 rated guy at 114, but like I say, chances are they're not missing at 129. You know, they're getting a 52, 55, 60 rated. I've seen Ben draft 60 rated wide receivers at the end of the second round.
Oh yeah, no, I was just going to add that.
do it.
Yep, I was going to add that.
Dzak and Malkpaul have done it.
Yep, Dzak, Malkpaul, and Ben, they can get those 60 rated guys in the 5th round. You know, it's crazy.
Like, speaking about linebackers, like the Malkpaul pick in the first round of this draft was, he was on the board and it was like, oh, he's so good. When's he going to get taken? It's got to be this pick. It's got to be this pick. And he was just still on there. And he had that 0 punching hitter bar and he was dumb. So I don't know if that threw people off. And then when Malkpaul picked him, I just looked at him and thought, well, of course he picked him. He's got amazing bars. And like, he looks like he's going to be a great player. I just thought, I don't know if that was him. I was just going to say, like, I don't know if that was him just, you know, not overthinking it and just going, look, I don't need to know anything secret here or whatever. This guy is clearly the best player left on the board. I'll just take him. You know, I wonder if sometimes that is just the case. It's just take the best player that's left there.
That's
right.
got
And I
to
can't
be
wait to see what that guy looks like at preseason too, because like I say, that punish hitter bar would have just made me say, okay, I can't draft this guy.
Yeah, and that's what it made everyone say that.
Him like, okay.
No, I would have taken him even earlier than that.
Yeah, but I heard
punishing hitter.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I heard also pass rush strength bar is also a static bar.
So he's got a 1 in the punishing hitter. It's not a 0, which is apparently important. So it's not a 0, and then the pass rush strength is 100. So it's completely maxed in the other static.
Yeah, isn't that weird? Especially since he has the bench press. I mean, this guy is a fucking enigma. With that bench press and that pass rush strength being that high, that punishing hitter should be way higher than that.
So your scout thinks he's going to be 72, Clay. What if you click on his bars? What does the league scout think he's going to be?
64.
So does that means he's going up again, doesn't it?
Yes.
That means he should go up.
So he's going up again.
It's one of those players that Jim programmed in to make us all scratch our heads and wonder.
It's like when you look at that guy, you think it's so obvious. He looks like a great player. Apart from that one bar, every other bar is basically full. And he lasted till 125 or something when Malkpaul picked.
Yep, 125.
Yes, 125.
That's crazy. So you didn't need to know any draft secrets, I don't think. That was one where it's just like, this guy looks amazing, I'll just draft him.
Well,
that's a great pick.
It was basically the best player available pick.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And now he's going to get even better. So, great pick.
So, and Ben brought this up, and I know you guys heard it before on one of his chats on another show, where there are people who just can't draft and they just go into free agency and try to get players that are proven. And that's it.
Teodos is the guy he mentioned. Trades his picks.
And just get proven players. If that works for you.
Yeah.
I think it'll hurt your cap in the long run, but
that's the tough part. You're paying tons of money because they're already improved. Go ahead, Jugs.
And it's a thing where you have to be content with yourself for overpaying, because you can draft that 62 rated wide receiver at 121, or you can wait until he gets 2 or 3 years developed and gets on the trade block and then pay 2 first and a second round pick for him. You're going to pay more once he's developed.
Yes. Yep. And that's what I was saying. So you can't really put a lot of players on your team because you're paying too high of a price for them.
So, hey, Matt, didn't I read somewhere it had to be obviously on the IHOF forum. It didn't. Am I remembering right that I read that you changed coordinators this year?
That question was to me.
Yeah, offensive coordinator. Did you hire a different style?
I did. It's not intentional, but yeah, that happened.
Yeah. So are you changing the playbook to match him, or?
To be honest, it's one of those black boxes for me still. I still have no idea what all those, what the difference is between the balance and the West Coast offense. And yeah, I don't know if it's going to work for me.
I bet that it does. I think balanced and West Coast and spread are very, very similar.
Yeah, I'm just guessing if you had a completely different style, you will have to change plays in your playbook this year to get them best fit for West Coast.
To make sure they're all best fit, yeah, but if they're best fit or solid, he's fine.
Yeah, best fit or solid, yep.
I looked at it already because, well, we're in that stage. It's looking like my playbook is going to be fine with the West Coast offense.
And I would think that it would be. I find it interesting. I'm an offensive guy. I saw that. I'm like, oh, cool. Matt's changing coordinators. Wonder how that'll work out.
Yeah, Matt. Are you happy with all your players that you have that you can knock Gutenberg out of division leader?
Well, the quarterback situation is just very difficult. Just like I said earlier, I think Singleton is a turnover machine, and I'm not sure Tanner is gonna be another turnover machine. But yeah, I think my running game is excellent. I've got excellent receivers, so it should work. But we're not gonna score 40 points against Gothenburg every week. So
there is a quarterback still out there who. Dakota. Is he there? Did anyone pick him up? Why are you laughing?
Yeah, someone got him.
Oh.
I traded him away last season.
Why did you trade him away?
He played terrible on my team. I mean, it's just a small sample size, but to me it was like, I'm going to play him or Tanner. Singleton was out for the season.
I hear Jugs and Red Zone in my head saying...
To me, they were so similar. To me, it was like, they're so similar. Tanner is cheaper, is better for cohesion. I have to go with that guy.
I'm in shock here. What team is C-Max? San Antonio?
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, never mind. It's not him. It's Orlando. Why is Connor Shea in free agency? You're looking for a quarterback room.
I don't want.
He posted today. He posted today. He released him.
Yep, he posted today.
$11.7 million.
He said he needed the cap room.
Yeah, it's like I said. I mean, I got, I'll look at shit tonight, and I'll look at, you don't got to export until tomorrow, so I'll look to see who's available. I mean, Livingston might even be a guy I could grab,
Yeah,
I was getting ready to say Livingston is still there.
Yep, and
he's down to $54 million.
He's down to fit, so I may have to wait a little bit longer because I don't have $54 million. But Shea's there, Gustavo Ragsdale might be worth a shot.
I'm just kind of surprised that Connor Shea's in free agency. I didn't expect that.
The reason why I asked you this question, Matt, because I know you've been battling with Julio for a while, and you now have a roster. And so it gets to the point where you go to another team and say, here's 3 first-round picks. I like your quarterback. Because that's what I need to beat Julio, to knock him out of that position.
He's never going to give that up for a quarterback. He is not going to do that for a quarterback. He's not.
Not Matt Staff.
Who's not?
Matt.
Me?
Matt. Matt. He's not going to do that.
When Livingston was the clear-cut 1.1 pick, I offered like 3 or 4 first-round picks to get that pick, but Kodos outbid me. So
So you're telling me, Matt, if there's a quarterback on a team that someone wants to trade, you won't give up 3 first-round picks?
Oh, I just said I would.
Oh, you would?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He tried to get Livingston at 1-1 back in the day.
But I have to be sure the guy is gonna be worth it to pay 50 to 100 million in cap room. That's the tricky part, because I'm spending more cap room on the other players on the team because I try to keep my team together, and that means you have to pay like 2 or 3 million more on every single player. That means you're missing 100 million on the total cap space.
We actually were talking about your team about that, and I think Jugs brought it up. Jugs says he won't drop any players. You keep them till they die on your team, basically, right?
If he can.
Most of the time I will, yeah.
Wasn't this the kicker discussion? Is that how it all came up? Wasn't it an expensive kicker? Is that?
That's right. Tell us about your kicker. Why do you have a $32 million kicker on your team?
Why?
Worrying about paying the quarterback, and he's paying the kicker.
True.
Here we go. Oh, wait. Why?
No, that's not my guy.
That's not
That's not my team.
Yeah, wrong guy. I'm like, did he get a new kicker? Nope.
Yeah, you got to help us out with this.
Yeah. Okay, so it's one of the. He's supposed to be the best kicker in the game. So usually when I try to get a kicker in the late second or in the third round, and then after the fourth season, after the third season, I'm looking at the guy and I think, okay, is this guy gonna be the best or the second best or the third best kicker in the league? Then then I'm gonna keep him. But if he's not, then I'm just going to let him walk in free agency and draft a new kicker. Well, this guy was, he was like 90 overall rated when he was younger. So to me, it's like it's the best kicker in the game. I've got to pay him. And at some point, these guys are going to demand too much money, and then I'm like, okay, if I've got some cap room available, well, sure, why not throw that money at him? But over the years, things start escalating because I cap out this guy every season. So eventually, it's going to cost me 30 or 40 million in cap space because I try to spend only 10 million on him in the earlier seasons.
Yeah, but $32 million for a kicker.
Yeah, but you have to. In the first 10 seasons on my team, I probably spent only 10 million on him, which is average for a top kicker.
Okay, we give you that. But how many years did you spend $32 million on him?
Probably the last 2 seasons only. I can check on that.
Do you set your game plan settings to not kick close to 50? Because he's only made 12 attempts over 50 in his career, it looks like.
I've looked at it too, and I'm like, why? I don't understand why he's not kicking more often from that range. I really don't.
Because he's stealing money from you. That's why.
It could also be because my go for it on fourth down is a bit higher than most would be, and that could hurt the 50+ situation. But yeah, he's not kicking a lot of 50+.
No, he only attempted 2 last season. He attempted 1 the season before.
Either we're not getting in the position to kick from that spot, or I'm going for it, apparently. Because it's not the setting. Or maybe
if you're going for it, that means you don't need to pay him $32 million and you can find a $7 million kicker.
That's a very good point.
I don't mean to twist the knife, but he's $18 million more than the next kicker in the league.
It was like 20 more last season.
Yeah.
Like 20 million more than last season.
I think Paris has the next most expensive kicker, and he earns 14.9 million. So,
speaking of Paris, we were correct. He did drop his quarterback. He traded with Red Zone and picked up Sebastian.
Yeah, I can't believe Bob got 2 seconds for that guy. Crazy.
Just the guy's got good bars. What do you mean?
Because this is a guy he picked in the first round at 1-5 the season before.
Yeah.
Played well in the very beginning of the season. He was playing off the charts. I thought he was going to do something and trade and get another quarterback, but he did. He got red zones. Good guys.
He's 5'9". I don't know how much of a difference that makes, but that's the first thing that sort of jumps out to me. Like, I don't think I've ever seen a 5'9" quarterback in the game before.
Yeah, there's a few of them floating around. Ben had a 5'9" quarterback years ago that led the league in interceptions like 6 times.
Oh, right.
I mean, 5'9" is usually a bad recipe for quarterback play. The guy has good bars, though. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with this guy because he's 5'9", but his bars look okay. His bars look like he should be 6'2", but he may play like he's 5'9". So, I guess we'll find out.
I mean, good sense rush. His avoided interceptions is 59, so that's pretty good.
Mel, is that a barrier for you to 5'9"?
Yeah. I mean, can he see over the offensive line? I don't know. I mean, he's a rollout guy, so maybe that's just what he does to get by. But I don't think, if I had the choice, I don't think I'd take a 5'9" guy. But if there was no one else around and I was looking at him just on his bars, yeah, I would take this guy. The sense rush is good. The avoid interceptions is good. So maybe I shouldn't let the height bother me. But
Matt, would you take this guy at 5'9"?
It's one of those things that I rarely look at, I think. I don't know. I'm not sure. I think I've never been in a position to look at a quarterback that's under 5'11". But I think Ben once said that he had a short quarterback and that guy ended up on my team too, and he threw for like 4,000 yards on my team. So I don't think it's it makes that much of a difference.
He's thrown a lot of interceptions up until now, like 68 interceptions in 48 games.
But yeah, but he's still green.
So the guy we're talking about is Eric Laura. That's the guy that Ben had that Matt got. And I am pretty sure, I'm looking him up right now, but I am pretty sure he's like the career leader in interceptions in the league. Actually, he is not. Donovan Moose is one of Ben's other guys.
Oh yeah, he threw.
But Eric Laura had multiple seasons. He had a season where he had 22 touchdowns and 33 picks.
Ooh, that's painful.
He threw. It looks like he never ever had a 3-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. He had a couple 2-to-1s, but they were more so like 1.5-to-1. Yeah, he threw a ton of picks. Last 2 full seasons starting for Mass Louis, he threw 23 picks and 21 picks.
Yeah.
You ran him out of time, huh, man?
And that could be directly related to his height.
That's true.
I thought I could make one work in another league, and it did not work out well, and I won't do it again Donaldson on Harlem never had a chance to stay here. The minute Ben gave me the password to the team, he should have been putting his house up for sale because you're not going to be on the Harlem Apollos for very long. I won't do it. I'm not going to spend a second even trying. I'm just done with that.
Well, I like that White.
I mean, we talked about that quarterback when he got drafted. Like, we all talked about how his bars looked good, but he was 5'9".
I just won't do it.
But this guy is still green. He's in his 4th season and he's far from fully developed. So his avoid interceptions bar is also going to be very green still.
Put it this way. If I have 1-1, you know, my team goes to shit and I get my ass kicked by T-Zac and Sert and Easy Lee, and I'm sitting at 1-1 next year, and there's one quarterback in that draft, and he's 5'9". I don't care what his bars are, he picks up for trade.
Are you telling me, Red Zone, if it had 90 across the board on his bars, you're not taking them?
Pay me.
Really? Interesting.
I won't do it. I will not do it. I just don't want to be bothered. No. I did it. And believe me, I tried so hard to make this guy work. I spent so much time game planning. I tried everything I could think of, and no matter what I did, he would pick the absolute worst time to throw a pick. And it would be a pick 6 to lose a game, or a pick 6 to start an onslaught where they'd score 28 points before halftime. No, I will never do it again.
Now, funny enough,
Donaldson was not going to be here.
You've said pay me, but now everyone knows that you'll never work with a 5'9" quarterback. If that guy ever turns up, you're just getting offers of thirds.
Well, that may be true. In which case, I'll take the stud receiver, and the next guy can deal with that QB.
Fair.
So we're talking about Donaldson's development. So he's going into year 4, and he's only showing. What is he showing on your screen, Clay?
38.59.
Okay. He came out the class 6% developed.
Oh, what is he developed
So just
now?
imagine how long.
He's 65%.
He was 6% developed when he got drafted.
Okay.
Right. When he was 6% when he got drafted. So that just gives you an idea how long it's going to take for Horner in Arizona to get developed.
Literally just thinking about that, yeah. And Horner's got more bars to fill out, which I guess might add more time onto it.
Oh, that's true. He would be 5 or 6 seasons in.
And Clay, I just made a liar out of myself. I said you never say never, and I turned around and said never.
On? Oh, yes.
Sorry. Okay. I'm guilty as charged.
I brought up Paris's team because Mass Lewis, they're both in the same division. They're both trying to knock Gutenberg out. And Mass Lewis needs a quarterback to make his team. And then I thought of Paris that he traded with you, Red Zone, and you got 2 seconds. And so I was like kind of shocked that he made that trade. But I like that he's making a move to improve his team.
Well, let me say something about that.
Mass Lou doesn't have the cap room to get a stud quarterback.
Oh, I did, but I looked at this guy, and he's not gonna be. It doesn't feel like he's going to be better than the guys I have.
You know, the other thing with Donaldson too.
Last year.
Yeah, with Donaldson, I don't think he had a mentor ever in his career. So, Tom, I don't think you're going to be that bad off if you get a mentor.
Yeah.
They will take longer to develop if they do not have a mentor.
Yeah, and that's very crucial for your quarterback to have a mentor.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't want him to have a mentor.
Clay's going to be signing them all up.
I need Tom to not be a pain in our ass for a while.
We've got this Donaldson guy on the screen. Well, for him, it's too late. The mentor's not going to work for him anymore.
Is it 3 years and then that's it?
Yep.
Yeah, the mentor only works the first 3 seasons.
Oh, is that right? Okay, that's good
Guys,
to know.
I'm going to have to run. I'm out of time here. A lot of fun. I really enjoyed meeting all the guys from across the pond. I love that term.
You too.
Cheers,
everybody, good luck this season. And maybe we'll do another one of these, huh?
Sounds good.
Yes, sir. Talk to you later, Bob.
Take care, Rizzo.
See you guys.
Cheers.
Take care.
Yeah, Rick had to take off as well.
I'm going to have to wrap up as well, so I'm just going to do a quick rant on my team.
Yes, tell us about your rant. Go ahead.
So, Cushman, I'm pretty buzzed about. I think he turns us from whatever we were last year, 5-11, to I genuinely think potentially 10-6, because I've still got Ellard, who I love, and he just does whatever he wants. Hirschberg has upset me a bit because I'm not going to pay him. I don't think he only wants like 20 million for next year. The problem is he's 35, because I got him when he was 25, hence why he's called Methuselah, because he's the oldest man in the league. So I don't know what I'm going to do with that. But what I was trying to do so I lost my right tackle because his brain turned to jelly after too many concussions.
Yep. So
I did get a decent rookie that I like the look of, which was Noah Barber. So I hope he'll be all right. He looks pretty good. But my main thing was just sorting out because last year I think we were like 30th on run D and like 20th on pass. And a large part of that I think was because my middle linebacker was just average. Like I love my D line. Then I got like 35 sacks across the D line. But I just, like, when I was watching the game logs, people just ran whatever they wanted, like any runs, and it was like 20 yards. So I did spend a bit of money on a middle linebacker who's got good run D and really good zone D, which was on the screen, Pimentel.
Yep.
Yeah, he's shit at run, but I've got Leslie Foreman, who's got like 99 run D. You can just play on goal line. But I'm hoping he will at least be able to do some passing shit against Quick. But then again, knowing Quick and Grim, they'll then just run on him all day. But my main problem is I just cannot get any corners. Like I've been trying to draft corners. I traded Lyon with Top in Orlando for Corey Forbes because I did not like Forbes, and I liked how this guy played. I think every year he's played, he's ranked in like the top 20 of corners. So I'm like, I'll probably do something with that. But yeah, my problem is I just can't seem to get any decent corners. Like they all look good coming out of the draft, and then training camp happens and they all drop to 40s every year. So I'm just dying on that.
Well, I want to ask you, how excited are you that you have Cushman on your team? I want to hear about that.
I'm pretty fucking excited because over time, so my playbook stems from a playbook I had rexed in the CCFL like 2 years ago in real life, and I won the league with that rexed playbook, and I had one receiver who kept getting 2,000 yard seasons every year. So ever since I had that playbook, I've just added in more and more long plays, like deep passing plays. I think my problem last year was I tried to go too heavy on because I play I think it's the Erhardt Perkins philosophy, which is basically power running and deep passing. And I think I tried to add too many power running plays, which meant our running efficiency dropped off the planet. And I started to mess up the targets a bit. But I think with this guy, it kind of doesn't matter what I run. I've got a few plays that I love that I always use, and I might mix some up a bit, but I think he'll pretty much be able to do anything, which is why I think we go from 5-11 maybe to 10-6, because I've got 2 or 3 receivers that'll work for him. I've got the running back I want. I just needed a QB who would transform it.
And now you said to yourself, Cushman is worth these picks because it's going to better my team and most likely get me to the bowl.
Yeah. At the very least, playoffs. I think he gets me there. And that's like I gave up, 2 first rounders? You know, even if I kept Arroyo, I'm probably not going worse than 5-11. So I'm not getting a quarterback that's at this level.
Was it your first offer, or did you negotiate back to get that?
I actually negotiated down. So my first offer in the middle of the season was like, I think 2 firsts and 2 seconds and a player. And then I changed my mind into 2 firsts and a second and got him.
Got you. And you knew he wanted to trade him. Go ahead, Jugs.
I'm just going to say Earhart Perkins is all short pass. It's not long pass or power running. It's all short pass.
I thought that was like the Patriots offense, like the 2 tight end sets and the short passes.
Oh, Jops is running Air Coryell.
Right. That's the one. Air Coryell, my bad. Because I did run Earhart Perkins for a bit and I hated it, and that would have been why, because it didn't work for me.
It's hard to get best fit match for a lot of plays for Earhart Perkins, just the way it's designed. It's just really, really tough.
Yeah, so that would have been it. I switched to Air Coryell because I didn't like the short passing stuff. What I might try, I'm giving one more year. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. As long as I have, who's my gorgeous D-end, Howard Graham, as long as I have him, I'm going to stay with a 4-3. Once he goes, I might change to a 3-4, just because I know what I'm doing with a 3-4. Like, I just get big, tall corners who can hit, and I just run zone, and that's fine with me. But no. I think while I've got the DNs, I'll stick with this.
Now, did you go after half Bill? Did you reach out to Iowa? So you never did?
No.
Okay.
Because coming off, so I think years ago I can't remember what quarterback it was, but I got an old quarterback after Grinnell, who had really good deep passing bars, and he was awesome. It was Blaine Sanderson, and he was great. And so ever since then, that was why I started switching to long passes, because off him I worked out what would work with that. And going back to my CCFL team, it was just a QB with deep passing bars. So I had hoped that Arroyo would be enough coming off of Adams, and he was like, I think, similar chemistry. I hoped he would be enough, but I think it was 5 games in, I realized it just wasn't going to work.
How did you know?
Or I didn't have the patience.
How did you know the trade was going to work? Because you weren't giving him a 55 rated quarterback in return.
I didn't. I did. To cover that off, though, I did offer to throw in Arroyo as well, who I think, I mean, I don't know what you see him as. In fact, I don't even know what I see him as.
Arroyo, hold on. Is he on the team?
I see him as 32 out of 47. He's only 47 future.
Yeah, 47.
Yeah, so on mine, he was on my team. I think he's like 50 odd, maybe 53. But my scout is crap, so that would make sense.
But you have to be ecstatic about this guy. You've got like 5 seasons with this guy to try to win it all.
Although I did try desperately to give him a 3-year contract, but he would only sign 2. So, I mean, yeah, hopefully I've got 5 years with him, and I'll just keep it.
You just have to make sure you can offer him an extension every time, because not just because of the free agency, but because of the retirement risk.
Yeah. So just as a side note, I see Arroyo as 52 on the league scout. So I wondered if that would swing it, but yeah, Cushman, I'm hoping after 1 year he'll accept like a longer deal. But this was what screwed me after the year I won, because I won with Ellard on his rookie deal, Graham on his rookie deal, and then I had a middle linebacker who's in free agency now, Shane Whalen, who had like something like 97 run D. And I had to pay all of them. So I paid all of them and the QB, which meant that I had basically, which is why my secondary's so shit now, because I just couldn't afford anyone.
Yeah, you fell off the cliff after that bowl win. We talked about that. When you made the trade, by the way, I reached out to Grim. I said, guess what? Cushman's in your division. So,
yeah, that text message sucked. One of the worst ones I've ever got.
Yeah, it was after we won. I had to pay all those players, and then my running back, Morpheus Alston, he was like 30 at that point. So that year was like a perfect storm of everything coming together. And then since then, I haven't had a winning season because I've paid everyone and my D is shit.
Now, how long does a quarterback like this blend into another team's offense? Does it take a season or is it instant?
I think this guy is
the wide
really good.
receivers and tight ends, he'll go right in, just kind of like what Half-Field did on Hannah Lay a couple of seasons ago. He had the wide receivers and tight ends that had been on his roster for like a grand total of like 50 seasons amongst them. So the quarterback was plug and play.
Yeah.
Looking at Cushman's bars, if I look at the team stats last year, you threw 120 long passes on the season, which I think is like the second most after Ben on 140, but it was only for 24% completion. So like with this guy's bars on long passing, that would definitely bump that up, and if you can get that up, that would make the best of those long passing attempts. That can really make a difference, I think. So it looks like he's got the perfect bars for that.
Because like I say, there's one or two plays that I absolutely love, like the trips and running that are deep. Because if you play in cover 2 or 3, like he goes right through the hole. But Arroyo just couldn't get it done. And that was the thing. Like you end up with loads. Like he was fine sometimes throwing away double coverage and stuff like that. But the amount of the amount of drops I had as well. Like the amount of drops were ridiculous. The passes getting defensed. So yeah, I'm hoping because like you say, like even if it doubles the percentage, it's still not an amazing percentage, but like all of a sudden you're getting in field goal range with 1 or 2 passes instead of going 3 and out.
Yeah, Ben threw 140 long passes for 42% completion last year, which is great numbers. Paris throws a lot of deep. Actually, you didn't get Cushman from Paris, did you? I was going to say that. No. Paris threw 100 long passes for 44%, which is a great completion record on those sort of attempts. So
yeah, I like seeing splashes like this when people go after prime players and put them on their team. So I thought it was a great move, Jobs.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that. Like I say, if it just means that it's another year that like Quick or Grim miss out, then it was all worth it.
Yeah, exactly. Bastard. No, I love the trade too. Just wish it wasn't to you, but yeah, kudos to you, man. This was a great trade, and I think Cushman will help you get back to the playoffs.
I also think he is comfortably the best quarterback I've ever had in this league. Which, like I say, considering I've been in it for 37 seasons now.
Yeah, ratings wise, I would say for sure. Yep.
No, I think Grim brought this up in last talk about reaching out to teams and saying, hey, do you want this guy still on your team? I'd like to offer something, even though he's not on the block. I think more teams should do that.
Yeah, I think some teams would be
back
willing
to
to do
the
it.
anti-tanking rule. That goes to the anti-tanking rule for trading. You can't trade for so many players off your team unless you got a replacement coming.
Right.
True. That is true.
Yeah.
I don't like tanking. It bothers me.
No.
I want people to be competitive as best as possible.
And I agree. And with that, I am going to go and make a cup of tea and watch some TV. So thank you for giving me my platform to rant. As always, love these chats, guys. So thanks for hosting it on a Saturday afternoon. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, great having you here, Jobs. Good to talk to you again, man.
Yeah, good to meet you, man.
Yeah, good to meet you. Cheers all. Take care. Fingers crossed it's a Brooklyn Bowl. And also, I really want to do something about that logo because I do kind of hate it with a fiery passion. Stupid
just talk
fucking face looking at me every time I log in.
talk to Ken. He just switched his Houston logo not that long ago. He might be able to help you out.
And I saw him on here, and I meant to pitch it, and now he's gone. So I'm gonna have to pitch it. Maybe I'll PM him and go, "Can you come up with a better face?"
No, don't even put a face. Put BKN on the side of the helmet, or just a B.
Bacon.
Yeah,
Bacon
that makes you think of Burger King or bacon or something. Yeah.
I'll come up with something better than that. Awesome. Thanks, guys. Enjoy, and I'll catch you in a bit.
Be good.
Take
care. See you, Jobs.
Later.
Cheers, all.
Bye, mate. Bye.
All right.
All right, guys. There were only a couple of trades. I didn't want to go through them all because I know other people have things to do as well. We were up to.
We don't have anything to do.
We have
You're putting up that guard. Yeah.
Yes.
I really like that guard.
Yeah, I liked him as well. I thought he looked great.
I did as well. Let me get his trade thing up.
Yeah, me too. I like the guard. I'll be right back, gentlemen.
Go ahead.
Funny thing is, when I looked at this guy after the draft was done, I was like, oh no, it's not this guy. It was another guy. Yeah, this guy. Awesome.
Yeah, I thought he looked great. I thought he was the top lineman.
Now,
yeah.
Look at this, by the way. He's 22% developed, okay? But he's 25 years old. Is that why?
Yeah, that was the thing. When I looked at him, I'm like, wait, he's 25 years old. Maybe he's not going to stick around for more than 10 seasons.
Does that sort of just mean, maybe he'd just be like a 2-contract guy? Like you'll have him for his rookie year, and then his rookie contract, and then you'll sign him to like his first extension, and then he'll be in his early 30s. So you'll have like 8 years out of him.
And he's going to take 2 seasons to develop. So.
Yeah.
So basically, when he's fully developed, he might be 28 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's something that's it's one of those checks where, like, when I speak to other guys about draft picks, they'll always say, "Oh yeah, but look at his weight or look at his age," and I think I've got such a long list of things I'm paying attention to outside of bars that sometimes the age thing does slip by me. Especially if I'm looking at Draft Analyzer or something, which doesn't show the age, it shows the date of birth.
No, because I know someone brought this up one time. They said they looked at the development and then they looked at the age, and then they try to figure out, okay, when they're fully developed, they're going to be at this age. Is it worth it to take this player, or can I get someone at 21 who's also 22% developed?
I guess it counts against him if you had to say, at least I think it does. If you had to say something against the pick, is the fact that he's older and less developed.
Mm-hmm. I like the player a lot.
Yeah.
He's just going to be at an older age when he's fully developed.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the next guy. The next guy is running back, Shields. And Fairbanks, this is. Here you go. Now Fairbanks, by the way, his season, he did well the season before, and then he dropped
drafted
off.
2 running backs in the first round.
Excuse me?
He drafted 2 running backs in the first round. I don't know what he's trying to do to me.
He did?
See, he's like this Liam Shields is like on the other end of the development spectrum. So he's 73% developed. There's like almost no green on his bars on the right hand side. So he looks like he's ready to play straight away, and contribute massively. Like 80 hole rec, 76 breakaway speed. He looks good. Great endurance. I mean, he can play in every offensive package. You need him to.
What's the ceiling age for running backs, fellas?
Oh, he's 25 as well.
Usually, usually age 29, 30 is when they like really start dropping. You know, you'll get the one guy every now and then, like the guy in Augusta. I mean, he even has 3 monster seasons after age 29. But usually age 29, 30 is when they like really drop off a cliff.
So his first major contract, he's going to start dropping, basically. He's 25 now.
He could probably get 5 solid seasons out of him. And like I say, he drafted another running back in the first round. They're probably gonna split time.
He got Relford as well.
I'm going to bring him up right now. And what does he look like here on his chart? Relford.
He looks good.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Two good players. So with Shields being 25 then and basically fully developed, would you want to just, ride him until the wheels fall off for that rookie contract? Because you know that you're not going to be that interested in him after he's age 29 or whatever. How would you play it with a player like that?
He's got the endurance too.
Looking at Shields. So Shields would be my every down back. And then Relaford would probably be my third down back and the guy I use for outside runs. Kind of like how I use Maxwell now. So Shields would be the guy to get 350 carries, and Relaford would be the guy to get 150 to 200 carries.
And would you sign Shields at the end of his rookie deal if he was 29? Would you sign him again to his second contract?
Probably just a 2-year extension. It would really depend on how well he played that last year and what his bars look like at that point.
Yeah.
Because if he dropped it all in his 4th year, there's just no – when his third – I mean, you would really need to make the decision by the end of year 3.
Yeah.
Because there's no franchise tag here. So he's going to be 28 going into that contract. Like I say, at age 28, you could probably get 2 more years out of him.
It was a good pick.
I would give this guy the ball 350 times a season. I would run him until the wheels fall off because his endurance looks like it's going to be maxed.
Yeah.
Well, last season he threw 614 times, so I guess he's not going to be throwing a lot this season coming up.
Well, he's been a passing GM his whole time in the league. The whole time that I've been here, he's been a passing GM. So that's why I looked and I'm like, this guy drafted 2 running backs? Like, what the hell is he doing?
Well, I could see him giving Relford less carries so that when Shields' contract comes up, he'll just re-sign Relford for fucking cheap for 4 years. And that seems like kind of a good play.
Before.
Yep.
He's got to be changing his philosophy. Maybe he doesn't like all passing. Now he wants to do all running. He sees what you're doing, Jugs, with your 2 back field running backs.
Yeah, I don't like that shit.
Yeah, he ran it 380 times last season in total. So you'd have to think that that's definitely going to go up with these 2 guys.
Yeah, with these 2 running backs, he should be running it over 500 times.
Mm-hmm. And if he doesn't, he just wasted 2 first-round picks.
Right. Or at least one of them. Yeah.
Good picks.
And Shields looks like you can throw to him as well without route running. So if you throw to people out the backfield, he'd be good for that. I mean, he can do everything, Shields, basically. So, yeah.
Good pick. All right, Fairbanks, good pick. Safety. Bordeaux. So far, he's looking nice. I haven't seen what the bars look like yet. Here we go. I like him.
Yeah, a little low on the interception bar for safety, but I'd probably just take him and play him at cornerback.
Nope.
Yeah, he's got the versatility to play most of the secondary positions. A decent bump and run bar, man bar. It looks like it could be maxed, so that's always good.
Is safety important for you guys?
He looks almost like a prototype left corner.
And that's why I like safeties, because you can move him to a cornerback. Because look at his speed. He's a 4.35.
Yep.
Which means he's probably like a 4.30 or 4.29 if you move him to corner.
Yeah, he's going to be dangerous for a while.
He's 6 foot 210. I would move him to a cornerback, definitely.
Would the combine number change if you moved him? Did you say, Jugs?
Yeah, the combine number is based on the position. So whatever 4.35 falls into the category of free safety, if that's on the high end, if he moves to corner, his high end 40 will be whatever the top is for a cornerback, which, like I say, probably around 4.29, 4.30.
Yeah.
Like you can look at that from the combine benchmark thread on FOSC.
Yeah. Okay, that's good to know. Yeah, he looks like he can do it. I think when you said is safety important, I think I like a good strong safety. That's when I'm thinking about the safeties, that's probably the more important one. Free safety, I've tended to just look for a guy who's got a zone bar and maybe an interceptions bar.
Yeah.
Other than that, I've not given it much thought. Other than that, I don't know if that's hurting me or not. But
nope, I definitely like this having a good strong safety.
Yeah.
And free safety, I'm with you. I'll just take a big zone bar.
No, I have to agree with you guys too on a strong safety. Yes. Where it has all the bars. Definitely. Yeah, hopefully Bordeaux, gets his team turned around.
I was actually rooting for him last year, and he kind of fell apart after the first week of the season, after the first 5 games or so. But I played him towards the end of the year. I had 3 games on the road last year where we just couldn't do anything right. We got smoked by 60 points in those 3 games, and that was one of them. Bordeaux had the worst defense in the league, and I couldn't even move the ball. That's what I was saying about just bad quarterback play.
Yeah, he has a quarterback that's Dennis. That's not working for him.
Well, that's the other thing. He's going to have to throttle down his offense because that guy's a turnover machine. He's going to have to find a running back and start running the ball a little bit more because Dennis just throws way too many interceptions to be trying to compete for a division with Mass Louis and Gothenburg in the same division with you.
Yeah, look at last season. He was 32 of 32. This season, that just passed, 30 touchdowns to 26 interceptions. His quarterback rating is almost identical from season to season. 66.9. The other one was 66.8.
I mean, he has all these nice bars, but like I say, he's just a turnover machine. I mean, Grimmer can tell you now, there's no way to game plan around turning the ball over.
Nope, there is not.
No, and that's why you got to cut your losses before the rest of your team that's talented gets too old. Now we go to the next guy. It is Orlando. Orlando took Page.
I said it about him the last show. He does a really good job of drafting defensive players. So now he's going to have 3 70-plus rated guys on defense on his team. This guy might be 80 rated.
Wow.
Solid.
Yeah, he looks great.
I mean, and so look at his middle linebacker and look at his safety.
Green and Calendar, and this guy's going to be a great addition.
Max Green, and Oliver Calendar.
All right, so there's Green and Calendar.
Yeah, strong safety.
Oh, strong safety. Wow.
Damn.
Awesome.
Yeah, his defense should be absolutely sick again. I don't know what happened this past year. I don't know if he just got busy in real life, wasn't paying attention. But I expect his defense to be back to top 5 again.
Yeah. See, this is a strong safety we're speaking of. Solid player.
See, and as good as he looks at strong safety, if you look at his bar profile, if you move him to corner, he would actually be higher rated.
Really?
He has max bars on man and bump.
Then you got to keep him at safety to make sure he's not going to ask for even more money.
Oh,
You
would
know
he?
what? You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Because corners want more money than safeties. You're absolutely, and he's already making $60 million this year. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, it was a great pick. Love the player. Jugs, you're right. His defense is just sick. But I think life got in the way, and Shea wasn't doing it for him. So.
Well, he benched Shea. I want to
he
say middle of
resigned.
the season.
Yeah, and he resigned Dakota. He was on a 1-year contract, so
Yeah, I actually like
Yeah,
Dakota.
Peterson actually played okay. Yeah, Dakota Peterson actually played okay for him last year.
I think he's going to do well, this guy. It's too bad he's only 31, so I'll have him for another 4 years. Is that what he signed him for? Oh,
he signed him very cheap too.
Yes. Wow.
Well, yeah, he only started 5 games, so he has demand, and he doesn't have high overall ratings, so yeah, you wouldn't request that much unless you were bidding against a bunch of people for it.
No, but no one, I saw
No
this
one
in the
else bid on
beginning. Nobody was bidding for this guy in the beginning. Everyone was going after every other quarterback. Because I looked. And I was kind of thrown back that no one bidded for Peterson. That he was just sitting out there with no bids on him.
Especially that cheap.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, Grimmer, you could have went after him.
No shit, huh? Yeah, I think at that
Should've
point
went
I was still trying to get Yamashita and Harden. But so he wasn't on my radar even at that amount of money. But yeah, too late.
And then we get this is the wide receiver that we all spoke about.
Yeah, that's the guy that I really liked, and he didn't come out as highly rated as I thought he would.
Yeah,
He looks like he's going up.
he's
He's got a strong combine, so he looks like he's going up.
I haven't even looked at
Remember, I was afraid of his route running. Well,
oh wow, the League Scout has him as 25.46, and my own coordinator has him as 27.56. So that's a 10-point difference.
yeah, and I have him as 26.54.
So he's supposed to be trending up then.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's good news.
So he'll go up.
I have his route running bar as 9 out of 62.
I have him 9.64.
I can tell you what he looks like on my own team.
48, the League Scout has him at.
68 on my own team.
Right.
So
that's good.
So he should go up. This guy should go up.
I was shocked this guy was available at 13 because I
That's what
didn't
I said.
anticipate picking
He
him.
should have went to top 10.
Yeah. It was like, I don't need a wide receiver. I've got other holes on my team. I've got 2 of the best wide receivers in the league. Why should I pick another wide receiver? But then this guy was still there, and it's like this is the best wide receiver in this draft. So let's just do the thing you have to do in the draft and pick the best wide receiver or quarterback that you get your hands on.
You know what I think it is? He was so far down in the draft position that I don't think anyone went that deep to look for him. Because when we were doing a show and Jugs brought him up, we were looking for him. We had to scroll down and find him.
Well, I didn't.
His adjusted grade was like way down.
Yeah, he was like the 10th highest wide receiver.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
On my own board, he was by far the best wide receiver in this class. So, I mean,
yeah, you can look at the other wide receivers. Nobody else, I think, is even higher than like 46 rated future.
I projected him as a 60.
He might get there. He still might get. Like I said, it looks like he's trending upward.
Yeah, so
he's not. Like he's not going to be as good as the other guys.
I couldn't believe he. Yeah, I really liked him. I couldn't believe he slipped out of the top 10. I was like, especially the way people go crazy for wide receivers in this league.
Yeah.
I was just shocked he slipped out of the top 10.
To be fair, I don't think I would have picked him if I had 2 more first-round picks here, because I felt like I really wanted the defensive tackle and the guard in the first round. So having 3 first-round picks did feel like this was a bonus pick. So
well, Jugs and Grimm pegged you right. They said you're not going to use those other 2 first round. One of them you're going to trade away, and that's what you try to do.
Yeah, but I tried because I didn't plan on keeping all of them. I
one of the
tried
picks he had was mine.
Yeah, 13 was mine too. So
13 was the Williamsburg pick.
That's where he got the 3 picks from, Clay. He got them from me and Grimmer in his own.
Yeah.
But they got you right. They're like, he's not going to make picks with one of those. One of them he's going to trade away. That's what they said. And sure enough, you were on the forum. These are on the block, the trade block.
Yep.
He has multiple first-round picks every single draft. Like, he kind of works the draft kind of like how Belichick does. Like, he's moving up, he's moving down, he's moving back, he's moving out. You know, he really works the board.
Oh, yeah. That's one of the fun things of the season.
Oh, good pick.
Oh, yeah. I still have to figure out how to make him work with the other wide receivers and the tight end that's getting 100 targets per season. So
you can trade him to me, man. We could talk after the show.
There you go. I think we're going to hear about a trade. And then here's the other wide receiver that was picked. Fairbanks.
This guy was the top graded wide receiver.
It's Frederick, brother.
That's Frederick.
I do not like him at all.
I don't know if he's starred for a wide receiver. I kind of didn't understand the pick. It doesn't look like a good pick.
Yeah, he needs a wide receiver.
Yeah, he does.
Just not this one.
Is it not enough getting downfield for you?
For me, yeah, getting downfield and route running. Route running, he's barely breaking 50. 50 is my barrier, and he's a rookie. He's barely breaking it.
Yeah.
And the getting downfield as well for me. And he barely has endurance. This is like a third-round wide receiver.
And this was the top graded wide receiver, did you say, in the class?
Yeah, it was. But the screen we see now it's just telling the story. You see the blue what what should we call it? It's not the bar, but it's more like this is where he's probably going to be, and you can see that he's on every bar. He's on the low end of that blue.
Yeah.
See, here's how I look at it, and you brought up something, Matt, right now. The dark blue, I don't look at that. I look at like the max the gray is. That is the max that the red bar is going to be. If it gets into the blue, for me, it's a bonus. So that's what I'm looking at when I see players. Like people look at the dark blue as, oh, it's going to get to that end. No, it can be the opposite way. Where this is where you start out, and this is where it's going to end at.
Well,
when it's fully
the
developed.
The game itself says once you interview the player, if he comes back very underrated, that means he's going to hit the high end bars, the high end of those bars. Underrated means close. Scouted means directly in the middle. Overrated means on the lower half, and very overrated means at the very bottom of those bars. That's what the interview process is supposed to tell you.
Okay.
Now, again, that's based on how good your scout is, how good your head coach and your scout is on interviewing. Because if you got a head coach who has a 28 on interview, it's not going to make much of a difference. You're still going to have a spread of like 40-something points. But if you got a scout who can shrink them down to, 24, 22 points, kind of get a better idea of where the player's going to fall.
Yeah.
I feel like he was reaching for a wide receiver.
Right. That's exactly what he was doing. And it looks like he swung and missed.
It wasn't a strong receiver class, I don't think.
Right, and we're back to how many linebackers got drafted in this first round that are going to be 60 rated and better. He passed up on at least 3 or 4 linebackers that look like they're going to be pretty good. There's a couple more running backs that we haven't talked about that look like they're going to be pretty good, although he has 2 running backs. One, he's not even using. We talked about that on the last show.
Right here.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he's doing with that guy. I don't know. I'm not sure why he drafted Elam's at all. I have no idea what he's doing with that guy.
Do you take one of these running backs and go to a team and say, I like your second wide receiver. I'll give you one of my running backs for him. And maybe throw in another draft pick to make it more enticing. To get a stud wide receiver on the team.
I think it would all depend on who the GM is you're talking to. You'd be hard-pressed to give that running back up. Somebody would be hard-pressed to give up a second wide receiver for that running back. You'd probably be looking like a third or slot wide receiver to get that running back. We really don't know how good this running back is. He hasn't given him the ball.
That new wide receiver did have a good combine.
Who?
The wide receiver we're talking about.
Oh, Newhart?
His combined scores weren't that bad.
Yeah, but his bar profile isn't that good.
Well, yeah, that's the thing.
No, he had a 64 position drill. His Solomonic score test was high. Was he banking on that the route running was going to be even higher than that? But even though my scout, not interviewing him, still doesn't have him high on his route running. So to me, it felt like he was reaching.
Clay, it looks like a reach. Yeah, that's like you said. It looks like he was really reaching. And there's a wide receiver that got drafted later on in the round that looks like he's actually going to work out better than this guy. Maybe it was the second round. Whoever the guy was that Toronto got, I don't know where he picked him.
Oh, Mason.
Yeah, Mason.
Yeah.
Yeah,
maybe. Trying to trade him already.
I know, he's on the block.
Mason.
Yeah.
Mason.
28.
Oh, here it is. This guy right here.
This is another one of those.
The only real downfall with Mason is he doesn't have endurance.
Yeah, and like zero big play potentially.
I could even get by without the big play bar. That endurance would kill me because basically he can only play in 2 formations.
Red Zone's jumping back on. I just let him in.
Awesome.
He's trading him.
Can't believe you guys are still here.
Yeah. What does he want? What is it?
It's so funny.
He didn't say. He
specify.
put him on the block. He said, I mean, look, Clay, pull up his roster. He's got like 17 wide receivers on his roster. Pull up his roster. he said he didn't have any room for him. And he doesn't have any room for him.
I don't know why he drafted him then.
I've never all the years that Ben had those wide receivers, I don't think he ever had more than 13 on the roster.
Clay,
how many is this? Is it 17?
Clay, hit attitude advisory.
Attitude. Okay, here you go.
That's what he's doing.
15.
He got
15 jugs.
15 wide receivers. Yes, 15.
And
I've never seen 15 wide receivers on a roster before.
And he's trading the one that doesn't have an affinity.
Oh, yeah.
Well, he's also the guy that doesn't have any cohesion because he just drafted him. He also has no endurance.
But I will take this guy, Jugs, than Newhart.
Yes.
What do you think this guy's...
He has a downfield, he has a route running, he has the courage bar, yes.
Yeah, you can play this guy as your third.
Even if you only use him, I was getting ready to say, right, even if you only use him in 3 wide receiver sets, he could be your slot wide receiver.
Mm-hmm. And he'll get a lot of touches and all that stuff as long as that route running hits the mark. Let's see where what the League Scout has it at. So the League Scout has a route running.
He looks good.
78. I'm showing 78 and 78. So interesting.
What do you think his value is going to be if he's up for trade? What do you think he'd go for?
I mean, honestly, he shouldn't go for more than a second. I mean, maybe like a second and fourth. If anybody offers a first for this guy, they're out of their mind. Like I say, he doesn't have any endurance. He can't do so much.
Yeah, I'd probably give up a second for him.
If I didn't have 2 solid tight ends on my team, maybe I'd go after this guy and give him a second round pick. But I just don't have a use for that many wide receivers on my team the way I run my offense here.
Right. If his endurance bar was at the 50 mark, easily a first. No question.
Oh, if his endurance bar is at the 50 mark, he's probably worth 2 firsts.
Mm-hmm. But yes.
And watch us say that and watch his endurance bar go to like 51 after PS2.
That would be crazy, right?
T-Zach could be like, thank you, Jug. You heard it. He said it on the radio show. I get 2 firsts. Come on. Who's going to kick him up?
Yeah, so, going back to Newhart, no dice on this guy. Next guy up was, Moontown. I like, so far it looks like a good pick. Let's see what his
Kristen Givens was a very, very good pick. And that was one of those guys where I was kind of surprised he slipped that far.
When I saw that Chicago picked a cornerback, I actually thought it was going to pick this guy.
You thought it was going to be that guy, right? Exactly.
Yep. Yeah, he missed the boat on this guy.
The endurance is a bit low, but still.
See, I don't find endurance that important.
It could be a mirage of what it actually is like. Sometimes the endurance is when it's not in line with the other bars, then after the review it gets higher or something.
Right. The endurance bar, it may go up. I mean, Matt Powell had a guy like that he drafted a few years ago where the guy looked like just an average corner that he got in the second round. And all of a sudden, after PS2, the guy was like 68 future. And his endurance bar and his interception bar jumped up like 30 points each.
That's what I'm talking about.
Look at Moontown's defense. Solid all the way across. Look at him. 60, 60, 70, 60.
Yeah, it's like you didn't even really need this guy, but that's just going to be a help.
These other corners getting old.
I mean, we've talked about him before. Remember, Ivan Crawley is the guy that he couldn't sign to hit free agency, and then he had to sign him back. Because I made a bid on Crawley, and he just beat me out for him.
Like his offensive line, his center is getting old. He could have probably went after the center I took. However,
So Clay, this is one of these situations where it looks like all he needs is a quarterback to put him over the top.
True. He's got this guy, Pitts, whatever you guys think of him.
Yeah, he's no good. He's no good.
Mm-hmm. He's going to be a sack machine.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's got the roster, to really make a big push. He's going to need one more wide receiver as well, because one's at 13. The other one's already at 9th. So by the time he gets his quarterback, he's not going to have wide receivers.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of guys on the last year of their deal. Unless he's waiting to do extensions after PS2.
That's what happens when you build a roster that's strong top to bottom. The cap catches up to you.
He can't.
Yeah.
He only has 650,000.
Oh, shit. Yeah, I didn't even see that.
Yeah, a lot of those guys are going to free agency next year. Holy shit.
Wow.
Yeah, there's 360s on his offensive line alone that are going to be going to free agency.
Wow.
But you just brought it up about, you can have all these great players. Sooner or later, you just can't pay them all. You got to let them go.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's where your drafting skills have to be really, really good to stay at the top every season.
So based upon what's happening to Moontown, do you it's not a panic, but you just say, I'm going to give away the house to get whatever that player is, quarterback, to make it happen. Or maybe it's a wide receiver to make it happen. Because you're going to lose all these players.
Well, at least Tristan Givens will cover losing Crowley after the season. So
I suppose it's all the cohesion as well. If he's had that line together for a long time and then they all go at once.
Yep, that's going to hurt.
It's like...
Well, Grim, you have plenty of money next season, so you're going to be pretty happy about that.
Hopefully. I just always tend to get
has plenty of money right now.
40 million's not plenty of money. But yes, I'll see who's out there, and I'll be grabbing some more guys before training camp. So,
what I was surprised is Easy Lee's got like 93 million.
Well, he struck out on the free agents too.
He usually is over the cap, not under.
Okay, North Plainfield. He's the guy you were speaking of, Jugs, that can draft defensive players.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
He got another one.
And we talked about this.
And Herman Jones. Yeah, we talked about him. Yep.
Yeah, he looks good.
So I got to play T-Zac 1 week, so we can put 50 on you in the blink of an eye. Then after that, I'll have to play Cert, who can shut you down, shut you out or keep you under 7. Maybe you get a field goal or 2. And then when I'm done with the 2 of them, I get to play Easy League. Whew. That sounds like fun.
Welcome back into the league.
Thanks. I feel like I was set up. We'll get that fucker. Come here. We'll give him this team.
All right, this is a guy I think you liked. Was it Grim or Jugs?
No, I liked him.
Yeah, I liked it too.
Who's that?
Erwin Alcott.
Defensive end.
I remember people talking about him. I wasn't looking that early at defensive end.
So the scout has his play strength at 98, pass strength at 98. I have it at 100. His pass technique, 71. I have 62.
Yeah, with looking at this, he looks like he's trending down a little bit.
They have 79 for future. I have 76.
He's not going to drop that much. I can't see him dropping that much. He looks like he got a 75 rated defensive end. But here's the thing. He actually drafted another defensive end at 2.1 who looks almost as good. That's Tucker Leandry.
Let's take a look at him.
So now he's got bookend defensive ends.
All right, so these are the two guys he drafted. What does he look like?
Looks like he'll get a lot of sacks eventually.
Oh.
I mean, if you block one guy, you can't block the other one. I mean, you can't double team both of them. I guess you can if you keep both tight ends to block.
Yeah, those guys could be solid for years to come if you can keep them both.
Yeah, that's the other question, right? Because if they get any sort of production at all, they're both going to want 45, 50 million on their second contract.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then it's going to escalate probably up to about 70, 75.
He's also got the guy he signed from my team, Bernard.
Oh, that's right. Well, he's got Bernard on his team. This is what he has. Why would you take two?
So he's got three defensive ends.
Well, you gotta with the endurance, you gotta need three guys anyway.
All right. Well, he's another one who always has good players on his team, but he can't get over that hump. He's always been at the 7 and 9, 6 and 10 mark. We always think he's going to get over that hump and get into the playoffs, but then something happens and he falls off.
Well, it's been the lack of a quarterback on his team.
And he's got Donaldson now, like we talked about.
He's got a lot of his guys are all locked up for a long time. 4 years, 5 years, 3 years. He hasn't got many guys that he'll be losing in the next year or so.
So let's see if Donaldson is the answer to get him into the playoffs.
We'll find out. 7 and 9 was his best record so far, so maybe he'll make that push to 8 and 8 next year or this year. It'd be good to see.
He's going to be playing Mass Lewis and Gutenberg. All right, so who's up next? That was, the guard. Alanta picked this guy. So this was Sweendog. So Sweendog picked this guy. 22 years old, 48% developed. He's looking good so far. And now let's look at interesting. Look at his pass blocking bar, where it is right now. Remember I said the gray for me is always, it seems like that's the end part, and it's kind of like matching up for where he is right now with the green.
Oh yeah.
Like not look at the blue, but look at the end of the gray.
Yeah, that is almost a perfect match.
Look at them in the trades.
What's that?
Look at the bars in the trade section.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, that's what we're looking at.
That's what we're looking at.
That looks like a nice guard to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Not sexy, but definitely effective.
Not as good as those blue bars say, though. Looks like he's kind of trending down a little, maybe.
What does the league scout say?
Let's take a look.
He's like 3 points off.
Yeah.
So League Scout has his pass blocking at 82. I'm at 67.
I see 78.
So
Good.
probably his pass blocking is going to drop, but his run blocking will stay where it is.
Yes.
Something like that.
Mm-hmm. And his blocking strength for me is 39. League Scout is 41, so he's going to be within the same. I bet you he was overrated. If he was,
I had him as very underrated. So.
Oh, you did.
Yeah.
Interesting. He's smart as well, so he's not going to give up many penalties.
All right. If he's a running team, works for him.
He's usually got a balanced offense.
Yeah.
And then the tackle. Rochester took this guy. So this was Rob's pick. I forgot to ask Rob, is Joel his co?
Yeah, I don't know if Joel's still
Maybe
helping out or
supposed
not.
to be.
Okay, here's where he's at. 21 years old, 39% developed. Is Rob seeing him go past? So, League Scout has him at 69. I have him at 68 for ratings. His pass blocking is 66. League Scout has him at 72. Run blocking 58. I have him at 63. And blocking strength 68 is League Scout, and I have him at 68.
This guy should hold. He should pretty much stay right where he is.
Yeah, I don't see him going down or up either.
He looks pretty balanced. You know, not particularly good at either thing, but he can do both. He can do whatever you want to do.
I know a lot of people don't think linemen are a sexy pick. I like picking up linemen. Do you guys?
Well, Rochester has 3 running backs on the roster. He doesn't have a quarterback. You heard him say that, but he's got 3 running backs. So I don't know if he's going to try and run the ball 600 times this year, because he literally has nobody at quarterback.
He did have a lot of guys up on the trade block.
Yeah, he might have the worst quarterback situation in the whole league.
Well, these are his running backs.
He can get some shit done with that.
Well, he's been trying to trade Krieger, but nobody's going to trade for Krieger. Look at his cap number.
Wow.
Yeah, that was my problem with him. When I had him in the last year of his deal, he wanted even more than that, and I just thought I did put him up for trade, but there's no one. It was just nothing. You have to let him go. Wow. But they hardly used him last year.
I mean, right? Well, he got hurt last year.
Did he? Oh, okay.
But I mean, you'd be crazy to offer even a 5th round pick for this guy. We could just let him hit free agency.
Yeah.
And he's age 31. He's bound to drop at PS2.
Oh yeah. It's gonna drop like 10
But he
points.
has the other 2 running backs. I mean, he's been drafting running backs like crazy. So, like I say, he has not been able to find a quarterback at all in recent seasons. And it's you can tell it's handcuffed his offense because he's a passing general manager, and he has not been able to pass with these quarterbacks that he has.
No, these quarterbacks are awful. Look at this guy. And the other guy,
and I think that's the guy he said that's starting. I think Riley is the guy who's supposed to be starting this year.
I was actually going to pick up this guy, by the way. Pierce Flowers, that he picked up as a rookie. As a backup, I was going to pick him up for. But, yeah, it's terrible. He's got no quarterback.
Like I say, he
might
have the worst quarterback situation in the whole league.
He's got cap to pick a guy up from free agency.
I can throw away $50 million at one quarterback for a season.
I think Dr. Livingston.
He could get Livingston.
Yes, he can.
Just a question about Krieger. You said he got injured last season, and he's obviously 31. Even though it doesn't have anything on there about like watch closely or anything, do those injuries, once players like running backs get above a certain age, do you think they affect the likelihood that they'll decrease in ratings quicker and stuff?
I don't think that plays a part. I think it plays a part in how often they get injured again.
Okay.
It seems like, the more a player gets injured, he just keeps continuing to get injured.
Yeah.
Like I saw a quarterback in another league. He was like an 80-rated quarterback. And like the first 3 seasons, he had something like 4 major injuries. And he ended up like playing like 13 or 14 years in the league. And I think he only played like 2 seasons injury-free.
Yeah, so it stacks up.
It seems to have like a cumulative effect.
That's one thing I didn't mention in my own quarterback situation. We talked about Singleton. He's been hurt very terribly, and he got hurt again last season. And that's another thing that to me is a point where well, at some point the injuries are gonna snowball into a guy that gets hurt more often, and then that he's not going to be a 16-game player.
Right, you can't rely on him.
Yeah, exactly.
Good point. That is a good point. And he's 32, so the more he's aging, the more he's going to get injured.
Possibly.
If it's coded that way.
Repetitive concussion syndrome. That's the one that I've lost like 4 players to over the last 5 seasons across my leagues. Even if they haven't had a concussion before, they get that and then they're gone basically.
Yeah, the repetitive concussion syndrome is one of those career-threatening ones, along with the degenerative hip, and there's one other one I forget. There's like 3 of them that are career enders as soon as you see them.
Yeah. As soon as I saw it, and it was like 170 weeks or something, I just thought he's never coming back. And then he was gone in the off-season. Once the season rolled over, he was retired.
Yeah.
That was it.
This is my favorite linebacker in a draft. That Snapfinger picked up.
So this is what we're talking about. This guy was drafted at 120. Look at him. How does that guy fall to 120?
Look at him. His play diagnostic can hit 97. His pass rush technique it can hit 100, hopefully, or in the 90s.
Even his zone defense, like 80 zone defense for a linebacker, is amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that guy too.
So the league scout has his run defense at 74. I'm 64. His pass technique 100. I'm 100. Pass strength, which is a static bar, I have 77. He has 80. The zone is 80. I have 80 for zone. Yeah. I like this guy.
What do you show for bump?
What do you show for bump?
80. Okay, I show for bump and run 82. What do you have?
I have 86 for bump and run.
And the League Scout has 86 as well.
Yeah, this guy. I mean, again, how does this guy fall all the way to 20?
I don't know. I thought someone would pick him up earlier.
I mean, we were talking about combines earlier, but this guy has the combine to match his bars.
Yes.
Like his bars are like insane, and he has an insane combine.
And he's 22 years old. He's 56% developed. That means he'll be fully developed at 23, 24.
Yeah, probably at the beginning of next season.
Yep.
No, and if you play him now, he's got enough red bars to make an impact.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, this season. I
Yeah.
guess the question is he going to play him in the middle, or is he going to play him on the outside?
And he had a great season last season. He missed the playoffs, unfortunately, because of that one game.
I think he missed it the final week.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, gentlemen. Well, I got to get out of here. It's in 4 hours. I got some running to do. It's Saturday afternoon. Otherwise, I'd sit here for another 2 hours and do nothing today. But if I don't convince myself to get the fuck off now, I'll never do it.
Listen, it has been long. Why don't we end it here?
All right.
Yeah,
Hey,
we're at the 4 hour mark.
Yeah, Melman, nice to meet you, brother.
Yeah, you too, man.
Matt, good to talk to you. Jugs, Bob's not here anymore, is he? Nope, he left. Jugs, Clay, I'm sure I'll talk to you guys this weekend at some point. And good luck this season, gentlemen.
I'll text you tonight and tell you how great Maselli is.
Yeah, thanks, brother.
Yeah,
Appreciate it, man. Well, half of me now, Jugs, wants to just start this motherfucker and try to get him to work so I can throw him in your face.
I know, and that's why I keep messing with you. I want you to go like 2-14.
He's using reverse psychology, fucker.
Yeah, these things run along, and then all of a sudden the time flies by. But we'll end it here, fellas.
All right, gentlemen. I'll talk to you guys later.
See you, Grim.
Yeah, later, Tom.
See you, Grim.
Late.
All right, guys. So we'll end it here. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for doing it again at this time of the day.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It was good to join. It's been fun.
And
the time really does fly as well. Like once you're talking and yeah, you don't notice it's been 4 hours.
I know. All right, until next time, fellas.
Cheers, guys. See you later.
Later, guys.